If you've ever been thankful to have your internet restored, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. And welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook. We are back to close out another busy week. It is the midway point through May. Summer is about to start. The Trump-Xi summit has ended. There are inflation fears. There's pullback fears. Is the AI a bubble? Are we at the top? Lots of stuff permeating the market. We're going to talk about a lot of that today. We're going to look at charts today. We're going to enjoy our Friday. And perhaps most importantly, we are going to have a Friday fun day, as we always do. It is great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here today. Thank you very much for putting up with the technical issues that we dealt with yesterday. Our team is relentless, and we will not let technical issues deter us from what we're trying to do, even if the experience is less than ideal. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Friday edition for May 15th, 2026, starts right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. I hope that you all had a wonderful rest of your Thursday. We're back here to close the week out strong on Friday and go into our weekend. I want to start off again by thanking everybody for your patience yesterday, both with our guest joining us live from a conference, which of course led to internet issues, and then my own internet issues that were just fantastic, as they like to say. LOL. Anyway, we're back and hopefully a little bit more stable here today. I also want to remind you folks that next week we are going to have a truncated week. The producer, myself, and 13 are all taking our vacation at the same time so we can minimize show downtime. Next week, the schedule will be as follows. We will have a morning show on the 18th, the 19th, and the 20th, and we will start replay content on the 21st and the 22nd, and run that to the 27th of next week. So it'll be 5 total days spread across 2 weeks, and we will be coming back. We're going to miss you while we're gone too. I'll give some more reminders as we go through next week, but I just wanted to get the stage set here. Now, let's get down to brass tacks here. Francis is first. Good morning, Francis. Welcome back. It's great to see you. EKS, good morning. Welcome back. Oil is trading higher here. Trump did say if we can't get the dust, we'll go in and get the dust. Market probably doesn't like that. Cad Monkey, good morning. Robert, good morning. Astro Kev, good morning. Yes, that girl, good morning. Jane, good morning. Crispy Biscuit, good morning. Zach, good morning. Wiss, welcome back. Wiss, the Cubs got one. They didn't get swept, thankfully. I'm glad you didn't show up here with a broom. I was worried that I was going to get swept out of here by Wiss, but the Cubs able to actually put up a good game last night. I'll tell you what, that Braves team is tough, and there's going to be more battles as the year goes on. There's no question about it. Producer, thanks for all that you do. I hope that you're able to get some R&R on the vacation as well. Cam, good morning. Welcome back. Carlos, good morning. TGIF, indeed. I almost said TGI Friday, which would have worked, but TGIF, indeed. Marionette, it's great to see you. Hopefully everything is going well on the other side of the world for you. Sean, with a little Canadian insight or history or Canadiacana, I don't know what you call it here. Happy, good morning and happy May 2-4 weekend to all the Canadians. We call 24 packs of beer 2-4s since the civic holiday lands on the third week in May 2-4s weekend. Okay. Happy May 2-4s to you, Sean. Is it Labatt's? That's my only follow-up question. Is it Labatt's? Linda, good morning. Welcome back. Neville, good morning. Welcome back. Kelly, good morning. Welcome back. We are well. Hopefully you are well as also. Alum, good morning. Welcome back. Fake Beat, good morning. Welcome back. Cameron, it's good to see you as always, boss. Welcome back. Dirkus, good morning. Welcome back. Maverick, good morning. Go Habs, go. Maverick, let me tell you, man, though that Habs team is unbelievable. That game last night was bananas. It was like 5 goals in the first period or something like that. Absolutely bananas game. Montreal is tough. It's been a long time since a Canadian team has won the Stanley Cup. I think Montreal has a chance. We'll see if they can get by Carolina. JJ, good morning. Welcome back. Siba, good morning. Welcome back. Charles, good morning. Bavesh, good morning. Tyler, good morning. Average Options, good morning. Derek, good morning. Good to see you again. Richard, good morning. Brandy, good to see you. Welcome back and good morning. G-Cord, good morning. Victor, good morning. Mark, good morning. Buffalo by Bicycle, good morning. Just passing through, good morning. M. Hoff, good morning. Seba says, first time here after a few years off. Well, guess what? We kept the seat warm for you. I hope things have appreciated in those few years off. We're happy to have you back. HB Darkside Hemi, good morning. Robot to Trade, good morning. Ed, good morning. Jeff, good morning. Sean, answering my question, said Labatt Blue or Molson Canadian. They're like the Coors, but 5% alcohol. That's came from the heart there, Sean. I appreciate that. Work Life, good morning. Welcome back. Big Bees, good morning. Welcome back. Buffalo by Bicycle, Kenneth and Acorns, good morning, folks. Let's go ahead and get our Friday Fun Day kicked off with the stock market today. All right, futures under pressure, red arrows across the board here this morning. S&P futures down 1.09%. They actually tried to come up off their lows, but have since 0.54%. Let's take a look at some cues from the last session here. Energy, utilities, and information technology stocks recorded the biggest on Thursday, leading most S&P 500 sectors to a positive close, while materials and real estate shared to trend to finish lower. U.S. stock futures fell on Friday following Thursday's record move. This comes as investors weigh the outcomes of President Trump's visit to China. President Trump concluded a business-focused visit to Beijing on Friday, securing deals for major U.S. companies like Boeing and NVIDIA. However, complex diplomatic issues regarding Taiwan and Iran remain unresolved. Meanwhile, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.54%, and the 2-year bond was at 4.06%. The CME Group's Fed Watch Tool projections show the market's pricing in a 99.4% likelihood of the Federal Reserve leaving the current interest rates unchanged during June's meeting. We'll see if that changes to hike percentage pretty soon. Now, we've got several stocks in focus here for you today. And the first one, probably the big earning of yesterday, it's going to be Figma. The ticker is FIG, and it soared 10.92% in the pre-market on Friday after reporting better than expected first quarter financial results and raising its fiscal year 26 sales guidance. Figma put up a Q1 adjusted EPS of 10 cents, which beat the 6-cent estimate. Sales came in at $333.439 million, and that beat the estimate of $313.16 million. Figma also raised its fiscal year 26 sales guidance from a range of $1.36 billion to $1.374 billion to a new range of $1.422 to $1.428 billion. And again, that was versus the estimate of $1.362 billion. The next stock on our list is going to be Applied Materials, and the ticker on this one is AMAT, or AMAT for short. It was 3.08% lower despite reporting better than expected second quarter financial results and issuing strong third quarter guidance. Applied Materials Q2 adjusted EPS of $2.86 beat the $2.66 estimate. Sales of $7.91 billion beat the $7.647 billion estimate. Applied Materials also sees Q3 adjusted EPS of $3.16 to $3.56. That's versus an estimate of $2.88. And they see sales of $8.45 to $9.45 billion versus an estimate of $8.089 billion. The next stock on our list is going to be New Holdings, and the ticker is NU. It fell 4.64% after reporting mixed results for the first quarter. The company posted quarterly earnings of 18 cents per share, which missed analyst consensus estimate of 19 cents per share. Sales came in at $4.968 billion, and that beat the $4.48 billion estimate. The next stock on our list is going to be D-Local, and the ticker is DLO. Shares plunged 6.87% despite reporting better than expected fourth quarter results and an announcement of a 300 million share buyback plan. The last stock on our list is going to be Winnebago Industries, and the ticker is WGO. and it was 0.53% higher after the company reported second quarter fiscal 2026 results. The recreational vehicle maker reported an adjusted EPS of 27 cents, which beat the street view of 24 cents. Quarterly sales of 657.4 million outpaced the street view of 627.1 million. Okay, are there audio issues, producer? Is there a freeze? Uh-oh, we've got multiple people saying the same thing. What happened there? It looks okay on my end for whatever that's worth. And we're saying he heard something. Okay, I don't know. Hope everything's okay. Anyway, let's review the SPY chart here. So looks to me like we're taking a little bit of a break from the record highs that we put in yesterday. It looked like we wanted to keep breaking out. This is a resolution of the bullish candle that we put in on Tuesday that we talked about. Normally these hammers you'd like to see at the bottom of a downtrend, signifying a reversal and then perhaps a new uptrend. Well, we got this at the top of an uptrend, and we got two bullish days after that. Now we are pulling back. So really, the question is going to be, where do we stop? I am really thinking 730, the round 730 number, but we also still have the gap between 728 and 725. And now we have the 20-day moving average supporting us at just about 724. So I think that 730 and then 724 to 728 should actually be some pretty good support. If we pull back and test that, that would be great. Better still, if we pull back and test that on volume. Remember, this melt up or this move higher has been very, very low conviction. It is definitely a hated rally. There has not been a lot of participation. If all of a sudden we get participation and we start moving down, it would be glorious if we got caught at a easily identifiable support level. We'll see if that's the case. Otherwise, upside levels here are going to be 750, the round number there. Also, honorable mention to the all-time high that we put in of 749.53. Now, let's take a look at some insights from analysts here. Scott Wren, senior global market strategist at Wells Fargo Investment Institute, advises navigating the current economic landscape with careful precision. Amid the geopolitical tensions, the ongoing geopolitical tensions, including a U.S. blockade and a war with Iran, he notes that, quote, the outcome of that meeting between Trump and Xi is pure speculation at this point, end quote. Consequently, Wren argues that the market demands, quote, more selectivity in terms of sectors, industries, and market caps, end quote, rather than broadly chasing equities. I think that's smart. Regarding specific stock market sectors, Wren suggests rebalancing away from energy, which has enjoyed temporary earnings benefits, but is now considered fully valued for this point in time, end quote. On April 6th, he officially downgraded energy to unfavorable and upgraded information technology to favorable. Wren highlights that the U.S. possesses a distinct comparative advantage due to its abundant natural gas and minimal reliance on Middle Eastern oil imports. This provides reliable energy source for tech companies. Looking ahead, he expects opportunities to emerge in subsectors capable of passing along elevated energy costs, particularly within, quote, artificial intelligence, industrial automation, and defense, end quote. So Wren saying, be careful here, saying maybe the move in energy is coming to an end or done, likes IT, but says, hey, be careful. We could still actually see some gains as long as the energy costs are passed along by those that can afford it, and then listed several sectors there. Okay, Ryan's feed is choppy for me, skipping now and then. That's not good. Producer, let me know if that keeps up. I guess the one thing that I could try is disabling the VPN and see if that works. Just a guess there. Keep us posted on that, though. Definitely, like I said, they messed with my internet yesterday, so I apologize. Want to make sure we get it working correctly. All right, next story here is going to be on one of the big earnings winners yesterday. That's Figma. Stock soars on the biggest earnings beat since it went public. It's actually been kind of a disappointment since it went public. The CFO says components of growth are now kicking into high gear. We'll see if Figma makes a good trade here. On Thursday, Figma, which is ticker FIG, Shares jumped after the design software company posted its strongest quarterly earnings surprise as a public company and was fueled by rapid paid customer growth, AI monetization, and expanding enterprise adoption. During the first quarter earnings call, CFO Praveer Melwani said Figma's outperformance was driven by multiple business segments accelerating simultaneously rather than any single catalyst. Quote, the beat and the core makeup of the quarter for us came from all different directions. All the components of seat expansion, product adoption, pricing, international momentum, and AI monetization are now kicking into high gear, end quote. Figma reported paid customer count growth of 54% year over year, with large enterprise customers continuing to expand full seat subscriptions across teams. The company also cited strong demand for newer offerings such as Make, Governance Plus, and advisory services. Melwani said Figma's evolving product portfolio has become significantly more compelling over the past year, encouraging users to upgrade to premium tiers for expanded access and advanced AI capabilities. Quote, it's early, but we're obviously seeing strong signal on AI monetization start to kick in, end quote. As prior pricing tailwinds begin to moderate, Figma is increasingly leaning on its AI products, enterprise expansion, and international growth to sustain momentum. CEO Dylan Field said the company remains focused on balancing profitability with strategic long-term investments, particularly in emerging AI markets. Quote, we always are working to be extremely rigorous about our short-term and long-term thinking, end quote. Management also signaled that while gross margins may fluctuate as investment increases, Figma's broader priority is maximizing long-term growth, market share, and product ubiquity rather than protecting specific margin thresholds. Figma, which develops collaborative web-based design software, which we've used here, by the way, reported first quarter revenue of $333.44 million, which surpassed the estimates of $313.16 million. The company posted adjusted earnings of 10 cents per share ahead of the expectations of 6 cents per share. Revenue rose 46% year over year during the quarter, and Figma also generated $97.3 million in net cash from operating activities and $88.6 million in adjusted free cash flow. For the second quarter, Figma projects revenue between $348 million and $350 million, which was above the analyst estimates of $326.98 million. The company also raised its full-year revenue guidance to a range of $1.422 billion to $1.428 billion, up from a prior forecast of $1.366 to $1.374 billion, and above the consensus of $1.362 billion. So Figma absolutely crushing it. They're saying that some of the tailwinds are starting to kick in. Just kind of looking at the Figma chart here, let's actually go back to Pro and do this. This was a hot IPO. I mean, before the real hot IPOs like the AI ones and SpaceX. This was a pretty hot IPO, pretty popular, and it really didn't do all that great. It had a good one-day pop, immediately started selling off. We had one notable bounce in there, frankly. And now it's really kind of come in. So the question that I have for you is the bottom in here? Is this maybe a name now that it's come in considerably from its IPO? Is this now something that is going to be tradable? Does this make for a decent swing trade? Also, I want you to take a look at this daily chart. Figma IPO'd, I believe this was last May, right? Yeah, May. So this has been about a full year. And Figma has spent that year really trying to find a bottom. We think that it might be in. We don't know for sure. The one thing that I would say here is I know there was a lot of talk about Cerberus yesterday. And we're going to see how Cerberus trades here today. But if we look inside yesterday, not great. The pop was great. Traded higher, traded lower pretty much the whole day. Now we're looking at lower still. So I just want to kind of draw the comparison here. We might be in a situation where some of these IPOs, if indeed they were valued a little bit too high, actually take some time to bottom out. Now it looks like Figma's actually put some results together, so we'll see if that changes the way the stock trades. Just wanted to draw that similarity here. Okay, next story here is going to be on AMAT, and this was another big report yesterday, probably the biggest report, although Figma had some of the best performance. AI demand pushes applied materials to the highest margins in 25 years. Sounds really good on the surface. AMAT wild in the after hours yesterday as it popped higher and then moved lower. We're actually holding lower today, but interestingly enough, we are up off of the lows. AMAT closed at 440.56 yesterday. It's at 432 here in the pre-market. Part of me wonders if this catches a bid here today, especially if the market decides it wants to try and trade up again. We've seen the market do that on a number of days where it's been weak. We'll see how it shakes out here today. One to definitely put on your watch list, though. Applied Materials, or AMAT, shares fell in the pre-market trading on Friday after the chip equipment maker issued strong third quarter guidance despite reporting better than expected second quarter results, driven by AI-related semiconductor demand. Applied Materials shares have gained more than 150% over the past year and were trading near their 52-week high of 448.45 ahead of the earnings release. And that reflected elevated investor expectations. We've talked about stocks trading up into earnings and how bad that can be. Following the announcement of second quarter results, some investors appear to engage in profit-taking activity, contributing to the stock's decline despite the company reporting strong financial performance. The company reported second quarter revenue of $7.91 billion, which was up 11% from a year earlier and above analyst estimates of $7.65 billion. Adjusted earnings came in at $2.86 per share, which topped Wall Street's expectations of $2.66 per share. Applied Materials said growth was fueled by demand for leading-edge foundry logic, DRAM memory, and advanced packaging technologies tied to artificial intelligence infrastructure, all stuff we knew. Gross margins expanded to 50%, marking its highest level in more than 25 years, supported by pricing strength, differentiated products, and manufacturing efficiencies. Semiconductor systems revenue rose 10% year over year to $5.97 billion. DRAM revenue increased 18% to $1.7 billion as AI workloads continued to boost memory demand. Applied Global Services revenue climbed 17% to $1.67 billion, and that was helped by higher fab utilization and expanded advanced service offerings. The company also announced the launch of its Epic Center, aimed at accelerating co-innovation efforts with partners including Taiwan Semiconductor, ticker TSM, Micron Technology, ticker MU, and Samsung Electronics, ticker SSNLF, and oh yeah, don't forget SK Hynix. Applied Materials said its advanced packaging business is expected to grow more than 50% in 2026, supported by adoption of chiplet architectures and high bandwidth memory technology for AI chips. The company added that acquisitions such as Next are expected to strengthen its panel-level packaging capabilities. Management said leading-edge logic, DRAM, and advanced packaging are expected to account for more than 80% of wafer fab equipment growth in 2026 and 2027, areas where the company believes it is well-positioned. And to support future demand, Applied Materials said it's expanding manufacturing capacity across U.S., Europe, and Singapore, nearly doubling output capacity as part of a broader multi-year AI-driven semiconductor investment cycle. For the third quarter, the company forecasted revenue of $8.95 billion, plus or minus $500 million, and above the analyst estimates of $8.09 billion. Applied Materials also projected adjusted earnings of $3.16 to $3.56 per share. That was compared to Wall Street's expectations of $2.88 per share. Big beat there. The company raised its outlook for semiconductor equipment growth for this calendar year to more than 30%, up from prior guidance of 20%. It also expects semiconductor equipment revenue to grow more than 30% in 2026 as AI infrastructure spending and chip manufacturing investments continue to expand. So again, the AMAT report here, not bad at all. Guidance was good. Stocks down a little bit, but up off of its low. Part of me wonders if that's actually going to make for a decent trade here today. Let me know if any of you are interested in this. Actually, I'd really be interested to know if you're interested in the AMAT or any of these AI names that have reported, or if you're interested in Cerberus if it keeps moving lower. So we'll see here. Okay, you guys are saying it's clear. Okay, so it figures some of you are having trouble, some of you aren't. I think we're going to keep rolling here, producer. I think we're okay. All right. How much time do we have? 6 minutes ahead of Putrino. Oh God, we should be right on track here. All right. Now, we talked about the market pulling back here. And I think one of the big questions is this going to be like a temporary situation where we pull back a little and we're able to buy the dip and then sell the rip? Or is this actually going to change things around? Are inflation fears finally digging in here? This story here, chip stocks fall as inflation fears trigger profit taking. Semiconductor stocks, including NVIDIA, ticker NVDA, Broadcom, ticker AVGO, Advanced Micro Devices, ticker AMD, Intel, ticker INTC, Marvell Technologies, ticker MRVL, Supermicro Computer, ticker SMCI, and Micron, ticker MU, and Taiwan Semiconductor, ticker TSM, traded modestly lower on Friday as investors took profit following the sector's historic AI-driven rally. The broader chip sector also came under pressure after a hotter than expected consumer price index inflation reading sent the PHLX semiconductor index down more than 3%. We also got an unfavorable PPI print a day later. U.S. stock futures moved lower as persistent inflation concerns and geopolitical uncertainty following the Trump-Xi summit pressured richly valued technology and semiconductor names tied to artificial intelligence. The sell-off came after months of outsized gains fueled by surging enthusiasm around AI infrastructure, hyperscale data center expansion, and next-generation chip demand. Ongoing U.S.-China tensions surrounding advanced AI chip exports continue to weigh on NVIDIA and other semiconductor companies that have exposure to China. The issue returned to focus after NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang joined President Trump's Beijing delegation, where technology trade and market access remained key discussion points. Although Trump said he would push for broader access for U.S. companies in China, NVIDIA recently indicated that China-compliant versions of its AI chips still have not received approval for commercial sales in the country. Restrictions have already significantly reduced China's contributions to NVIDIA's revenue. In April, Sid Chawaria of SC Marwar Capital said accelerating earnings growth and massive AI infrastructure spending continue to underpin long-term bullishness across semiconductor stocks. According to Chawaria, Amazon.com, or ticker AMZN, Microsoft, ticker MSFT, Alphabet, ticker GOOG and GOOGL, and Meta Platforms, ticker META, are collectively investing roughly $800 billion into AI data center infrastructure, driving one of the largest technology buildouts in history and fueling sustained demand for AI-related chips. He added that rising corporate profits and expanding operating cash flows continue to support investor confidence in semiconductor leaders such as NVIDIA and Broadcom, despite the increasingly elevated valuations. So again, is this just profit taking, or are we changing character here? Are we starting to get to the top, for lack of a better term? You'll have to let me know on any of that. Cam says, glad I didn't pull the trigger on AMAT calls yesterday after all. Cam, you might have a chance to trade him intraday today and not expose yourself to the binary print. Keep me posted if you do that. I'm going to be looking at AMAT out of the gate here. Chris, shout out to you too. Not to call you out here, more of a shout out. Let me know if you trade AMAT here today and which direction you're looking at trading it. Okay, let's see. Where are we at? 2 minutes. Mark's not here. We got time for one more story. Let's do it here. Samsung stock tanks in Seoul as workers push ahead with an 18-day strike plan. The CEO warned against complacency. The reason that I selected this story is because we just had Tim Melvin on earlier this week on Wednesday, and he was talking a lot about Korea. And it's been really good. And the points that he was making about the AI trade and all of that and how that's going to play in here, all of that makes sense. So as soon as I saw this story this morning, I was like, oh, man, we better talk about this. Samsung Electronics, again, ticker SSNLF on the OTC market, faces a potential strike by its South Korean labor union next week, despite the company offering to restart unconditional wage negotiations. The Korean chipmaker's shares plunged nearly 9% in Seoul on Friday. The union has expressed its willingness to engage in new discussions post June 7, but remains firm on its 18-day strike, planning to start on May 21st and potentially disrupting production at the world's largest memory chip maker. That was reported by Yonhap News. The union also warned that over 50,000 workers could walk off the job next week. That would be really bad for our AI theme. According to the report, Samsung proposed keeping its current excess profit incentive system while offering a more flexible bonus structure tied to either 10% of its operating profit or economic value added, or EVA, along with new special compensation system. The union, meanwhile, is demanding fixed bonuses equal to 15% of the semiconductors division's operating profit and the removal of payout caps. Urging the union to recommence talks, Samsung executives has apologized for the discord caused by the labor dispute and committed to an open approach in future negotiations. A meeting between the company's executives and the union leader at the Pyeongtaek campus is in the pipeline. The South Korean Labor Commission has scheduled another round of government-mediated talks on Saturday to avert the strike. The union, however, will only participate if the company presents a detailed proposal addressing the union's demands by Friday, today. Samsung Electronics Vice Chairman and CEO Jun Young-hyun urged executives to remain alert amid a potential labor strike, warning against complacency despite the ongoing chip market boom, again reported by Yonhap News. He describes the current upcycle as the company's, quote, last golden opportunity, end quote, to rebuild its core competitiveness. He goes on to say, quote, the time is not for complacency, end quote. Earlier this month, Samsung Electronics reached a $1 trillion market cap, joining an elite club of companies like Taiwan Semiconductor amid a surge in global demand for artificial intelligence. Samsung's robust first quarter results, released late April, were driven by soaring demand for AI memory chips and tight global supply. Revenue rose about 70% year over year to 133.9 trillion won, or 89.96 billion USD, while operating profit jumped more than 750% to a record 57.2 trillion won, beating analyst estimates and surpassing the company's total profit for all of 2025. However, the looming strike threatens to disrupt this momentum. Analysts told Reuters that the impending strike has raised concerns about the chip giant's ability to fulfill its commitments to customers, thereby affecting its market position. Meanwhile, the South Korean government warned that a strike at Samsung must be avoided, citing concerns that it could negatively impact the nation's economic growth. Indeed, this is going to be something to watch. We'll see if cooler heads prevail here, what ends up happening, and what kind of disruption this actually leads to. All right, folks, it is 8:32. We are going back to pro, and we are going to one of our favorite guests. It's time to bring on Mark Putrino, a little bit of a history lesson and some context on what the stock market is doing. Let's bring him on. All right, Mark, happy Friday. How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
I'm really good. I hope I didn't just bust throw you there. I was not insinuating that you have to give a history lesson, but I know you're a big reader of history, and I love how you fold that into some of the lessons that we do here on the show. So I just went with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this Samsung story is pretty amazing. I haven't followed it that closely, but my understanding is, I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's not like blue collar workers that are going on strike. It's like white collar workers too. And is that true? Do you know that?
I believe that it is, yes.
And I don't, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but and maybe it's happened before, but I don't really ever recall like white collar workers going on strike anywhere. And I think, psychologically, the fact that the company just became $1 trillion company, and yeah, I mean, I don't know. It seems a little, I mean, it's just like, what do these people want?
Yeah, to me, Mark, and this is just a complete speculation and read through, and I too have not necessarily been following it. When I saw the story, I was like, oh, this might be something we should pay attention to. My thought here is that these people are seeing all of this stuff like across the world, right? Like AI is lifting a lot of different things, stock prices, productivity, a lot of different things across the world. And these people that view themselves as integral to the production of everything tied to AI, they want some more with it. And I think they see all of these spending numbers and all of these profit numbers, and they think, well, gosh, I make the damn things. Might as
Well, I don't
well.
know, man. The world where I come from, everyone's expendable. So
No,
I
I look, I totally get it. Like I said, I don't necessarily feel the same way, but that's just kind of my read through on it. Maybe I'm wrong about that. We'll see.
well, so then it just kind of begs the question, is this the type of stuff that happens as we get close to market tops, right? When people just get kind of entitled and like people, yeah, I think from a historical context, who knows? Maybe it does mean something. Like a long time ago, right when the internet bubble was about to pop, there were all these big old trading firms that there was this big place called Herzog, Heine and Gould. There was a big place called Spear Leeds Kellogg. All these big trade firms, like the guys that ran these places, were just like, it's time to sell. So they all sold right at the top. And then you start thinking about when these companies IPO, like the Sam Altman company, so forth and so on, they're not selling because they think the share prices are going to go higher. They're IPOing because they think it's a good time to, right? So
Yeah.
we'll see. And I saw this interesting article, if you don't mind if I share.
No, not at all. Do you want to share your screen and bring it up?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great. While you're doing that here, Canarp says factory of the future is just robots plus one human plus one dog to entertain the human. I feel the other way. Rent theory of labor. Please read this. There you go, Canarp. Happy Friday.
All right.
All
Let
right,
me
let me
see.
put your screen on here. Sorry about that, Mark.
Yeah. Now this is one of those things you can't really quantify, but will go under the category of sentiment. When you start seeing articles like this, these tend to be signs that you're getting close. Like when people start saying this time it's different. Wall Street says stock market euphoria has echoes of 99, but a firmer foundation. And then basically what this reporter says is that, well, companies are earning a lot more money now than they were back then, and a lot of internet companies didn't earn any money. And yes, that is true. But what I would say is there were companies that were earning a lot of money, such as Cisco and Intel. Their stocks dropped 80% when the internet bubble blew up. So, yeah, this is the type of stuff you see towards the top when people kind of start saying, like, this time is different, because we have to remember that earnings aside, it's a market. And if everyone who wants to buy stocks buys, then the market just runs out of buyers. And a market with no buyers can't go higher, it can only go down.
And this is why
So,
the psychology that you explain all the time is so important. It's so important because it's different. It's disconnected from some of those earnings. And
yeah, now I was looking
by
at,
the way, really quick, the 80% pullback that you talked about in Cisco, that just recently went back to those levels. So those people that were buying stock up there at the top, if they still held on to it, they're finally green, Mark. Only
yeah, I
took
mean,
26 years.
yeah, I'll tell you, people, as you know, I am a trader and not of the old buy and hold school, but I did see something that was kind of interesting. Let's pretend that it's your buy and hold person and you don't trade, you think long-term buy and hold is the best style of investing, and you invested in the Dow Jones in 1905. Well, you had all this volatility, but guess what? 1942, your account is worth the same amount as it was 35 years before. So people forget that it's easy to sit around and say, oh, yeah, long term buy and hold is the best strategy when the market's at all time highs. But there are long periods of our country's history where the market just doesn't do anything. This is the Dow Jones 1966. It didn't break it until 1983, right? So these are one of the things that we just kind of need to remember. Now, I was looking at the semiconductor. industry ETF. And on a weekly basis, this is literally, if we go to the RSI and we use the weekly setting, this is the most overbought that this has ever been since it started trading in 2000. So in 26 years, this is the most overbought it's ever been. And then if you just do some kind of, I guess some kind of like, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, back of the envelope, unsophisticated analysis.
Napkin math.
Yeah, right. Stuff that we could do like at the bar after the day is over on a napkin. Now look at that vertical angle, I guess you want to call it. I went back through this whole history here, and I did not find anything that was that steep, with the exception of coming like right back here, which only lasted for 2 weeks. But now this is a critical difference. This is at a market bottom. This is a reversal. This is at a market top, which is what makes it so unusual. So then the obvious question is, well, what the hell am I supposed to do, Mark? Well, I'll tell you what I'm doing. I got my eyes on this SOSX, which is the inverse semiconductor ETF. And look at that. In the pre-market, it's up 10%. So is the turn happening today? Maybe. Is it going to be Monday? Is it going to be in a week? Is it going to be in a month? I don't know, but I'm pretty confident that this is going to be a pretty as trading goes, I think this is going to be a pretty low risk kind of thing here. The key is not to try to pick the top and just wait for it to start, and maybe wait for this uptrend line here to break. Maybe wait for the RSI line to get back below this threshold. But when things get historic, we have to pay attention. Now, I know we've had great earnings and stuff, and I know Intel is a great company, but is it great enough to justify that it's gone up by 200% in 31 days or 32 days? I don't know. Things that go up go down too. And it's not so much that the sellers come in and overwhelm the buyers. It really kind of comes down to the buyers just run out of gunpowder, so to speak. It's like everyone who wants to, in the institutional world, generally speaking, people take positions by a percentage size of your portfolio. So if you want to have a 5% position in Intel and you buy 5% of it, you have $1 billion and you put 50 million into Intel, well, that's it. You're done. You're not buying anymore. So I think we got to kind of just be nimble and just keep an eye on some of this stuff. Another interesting thing, which gives me a little bit of conviction that I think this trade is going to end up being pretty good, is because if you look at the rest of the market, there's really nothing else going on. I mean, here's the financials. Here's the healthcare sector. I mean, it had a little bit of a rebound, but it really didn't do much yesterday. It doesn't look like it's going to do much today.
And to your point, Mark, I saw a stat yesterday that this is a new record. We set an all-time high with the amount of S&P stocks near 52-week lows. Like, this is the first time that we've set a new all-time high in the index with having so many S&P stocks near their 52-week lows. It's obviously being carried by a select group as opposed to broad participation.
I didn't see that, but it's not surprising.
If I can find the actual stat where I can quote it verbatim, I'll link it to you.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that. That would be good. If you think about it, like if we go back to, say, last May and last June, one of the reasons why back then, where I was really confident that the rally was going to really continue, was every single sector was moving in the same direction. They were all moving up. Most of the time, some are moving up, some are moving down. There's a little bit of whatever going on. Now, what's kind of interesting, a lot of people ask me about rotations and how do you know when there's like a rotation that's going on? Well, notice how, at least in my opinion, I would say the tech sector looks kind of vulnerable. Now, coincidentally, not coincidentally, I think it's probably not coincidentally, two of the flight to safety sectors, utilities, this could be looking somewhat bearish in the sense that we could be getting a reversal here. So if tech starts to roll over, there's a good chance some of that money comes in over here. The other sector that's looking somewhat bullish is the other flight to safety sector, which is consumer staples. And we look like we're making this kind of ascending triangle-ish type pattern over here. So I think over the next week or so, there's going to be some pretty interesting opportunities. And who knows, maybe it all just fizzles out. But I just think with the semis that overbought, that there's going to be some kind of profit taking at some point. And well, markets go up fast, can go down fast.
And Mark, we've talked about this market really kind of feel like it's melting up. It's doing so on low volume, like very low volume. Like the average SPY, the 100-day average is like 80 some million shares. It's trading every day at like 40 million shares.
Yeah,
So it tells me that this rally is driven primarily by retail and not by institutions or funds. And if those folks start to sell and overwhelm this move higher, I mean, it could be an elevator down.
I would not disagree. And one of the things to think about with the volume is where do I move to new pane below? Now, boy, I'll tell you, I cannot see. Move to new pane below. There
You
we go.
can't see because you have light mode on. I'm
Really?
sorry. Yeah, I mean, a dark mode is so much easier to see. I will never understand why
How do
there's
I
a
do that?
human. What? I don't know on the TradingView site, but I know that there's a way. For those of you that use TradingView every day, let me know what the quick way is here. Mark, this is just kind of a long-standing internet-style debate that I'm using this as an opportunity to chime in here. Click
Well,
on your account icon, I believe. So I think that's in the upper left corner.
all right, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, no
What
problem.
what is kind of funny is that I have a cataract, and my doctor said that everyone who lives, if you live long enough, you get them. And he said the bright side is you'll get surgery when you're younger than all your friends, and then you'll end up having 20/20 vision. My father-in-law has really horrible vision. And then when he was like in his late 70s, he had cataract surgery and he had 20/20 vision for the rest of his life. Um, but what's funny is sometimes I'll be playing golf and I'll hit a really good shot and I literally can't see it. And I'll say to the caddy or to whoever I'm playing with, like, "Where is it?" And they'll be like, "You idiot! It's right up on the by the hole there. You see it."
You idiot. Mark, that is reason enough to get the surgery. You got to be able to see your good golf shots.
Yeah, right. So, like, they think I'm lying, or I pretend I don't see it. But going back to the drop off in volume, yeah, I would concur. And one of the things we want to think about is one of the main reasons in the market why we get support is because we get people who sold. Yeah, look at that drop off. We get people who sold who are remorseful when the price goes higher after they're done selling. So a lot of those people will tell themselves, if it gets back to my price and I can buy my shares back at the same price I sold them at, I will. So that's why you get support at former support levels. Now, if you think about it in a market where we're going higher here on light volume, there's just not as many people trading. So when we reverse, there's just not going to be this large group of remorseful sellers trying to buy shares back. So it's just a market principle that, and I mean, you can see it on pretty much any stock or any ETF, but I don't know why I'm bringing up healthcare, but it's just a market principle that if you move quickly through prices in one direction and then you reverse and you get back to those same levels going in the opposite direction, like right here, you move quickly, right? You can move quickly right back through them, like right here. So there, because this move was so quick, there just wasn't a lot of people who sold who are going to be trying to buy back on the way down. So when the market turns and the sellers come in, they're like, hey, where the hell are all the buyers? And they have no choice but to really knock the thing down. So if you've ever heard the term gaps tend to refill, that's what it's referring to. If you move quickly in one direction and then you get back in the opposite direction, See, there we go again. I got to get one of those like double size keyboards that like my grandmother used to have, with like the big old
A
phone.
jitterbug keyboard. Oh man.
Hey, listen, one day one day they'll have a pill you take, and all of a sudden everyone will have 20/20 vision, just like no one will be fat one day. But yeah, like here, here's a really good example on Nvidia. You just make these really rapid moves, and then when you reverse, you fall quickly right back through. And here you can see the same thing happens on the downside and then the upside. One of the main reasons why we get resistance is remorseful buyers trying to sell on the way up. So in a situation like this, when you just gap or you move really quickly, you don't have a lot of buyers who are going to be trying to sell on the way back up. So when the buyers come in, there are sellers out there, but there's just not as many as there would typically be, as if it was prices that had traded through a range. The same things are going on, but because we spend so much more time at these levels, there's just more vested interest than there would be in a situation like that. So all that being said, yeah, I mean, a lot of these things that are just ripping higher, like even Nvidia here, if they reverse, that reverse could happen pretty rapidly. Oh, these guys report in 5 days.
Yeah, Nvidia, that's going to be the big report for next week. Big report for next week.
And then as for Iran, I don't know if anyone knows what's going on over there. So it's almost like it's almost like at this point, it's almost like the boy who cried wolf, in the sense that it just doesn't seem like people are paying attention to the headlines like they were a month or two ago. Maybe that's just my perception, but
No, I think you're spot on with that. I think that there's some headline exhaustion from market participants. There was so much back and forth. Half of the market participants don't believe Trump to begin with, and now the statements carry less weight each time they come out. That's what it feels like to me.
well, these are time. You see, this is so much of trading is like counterintuitive, and I think that this is one of these times, because with all this crazy stuff that's going on in the world, I think people's instinct is that, all right, I gotta listen to every guru that I can, read as many articles as I can, look at all the charts. But it's actually the opposite. Now is the time, I think, where you got to just think about what your rules are, and just for your entering and exiting trades, and just really stick to them, and just try to ignore all this stuff as much as you possibly can. Because whether you're Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal, whatever, if you let your emotions influence your decisions in the market, it's probably not going to end up good. So that's one of the things we have to remember. The market doesn't care about you.
No, it
So
does not.
you shouldn't care about it. And as someone who does a lot of, I guess you would call me a trading coach in some of my roles, there's certain red flags. And when someone says, like, oh, I love that stock, to me, that's like red flag right there, because you shouldn't love a stock. And I'm sure everyone out there who's listening to me has seen it. When you go into these times where you go into these bubbles, like the Reddit bubble or the cannabis stock bubble, or you name it, it happens in any bubble. You get these people who, let's just say they buy a stock at 10 and they've never bought stocks before, and it goes to 100. And they're just like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest thing ever. I made so much money. I didn't even have to leave the house. I love this thing. And then it goes to 90. And they say, well, I'm still at 90%. If it goes to 80, I'll sell it. And then it goes to 80. And they say, well, I'm still up 80%. If it goes to, or, I'm still up 8 times. If it goes to 70, I'll sell it. And they end up losing money on a position that they had this huge win on. And that's called sentimentality bias. People fall in love with these things and they want to relive the glory days of when it first went from 10 to 20 to 30. But it's like a carpenter uses a hammer. That stock is a tool. But just like a carpenter shouldn't fall in love with a hammer, people shouldn't fall in love with the stock. And someone said to me the other day, Mark, the more I learn about this, the more I think it's about 50% emotions. And I said, you know what? The more I learn about this, the more I think it's about 95% of
I was
money.
going to say, keep going is what you say there, because it's more than that.
Yeah, and you can even just see it like in the price of anything. Like for example, Costco. I mean, as we know, Costco is the greatest store ever, but
Right.
it's worth $461 billion. So yesterday it was up 70 basis points. Now, that doesn't seem like a huge move, but if we just think specifically in terms of valuations, in terms of like earnings and interest rates and margins, what possibly could have happened in Costco that made it worth that much more?
I went to on my shopping trip earlier.
Okay. Well, I wish you had told me. So yes, it's up 4% in 3 days, and you just can't, justify that. And then again, if we look at our historical charts, before there was AI and before there was computers and internet and this, that, and the other thing, guess what? You see the same patterns we see today. And that's because emotions haven't changed, right? People buy at the top, it goes down. They say, if I could ever get out at break even, I will. People sell at the bottom. Here's your history lesson. This is the failure of the Knickerbocker Bank here. And it's actually, if you're ever in New York City, the New York Museum of Finance is, I think that's what it's called. It's over on Fifth Avenue, kind of by where Madison Square Garden is. And it's where JP Morgan's uh, mansion was. And the famous story is that the Knickerbocker Bank failed and there was no Federal Reserve back then. So the famous story is that JP Morgan locked all the bankers in his library and sat out there and played solitaire and said, you guys are not coming out until we have this all figured out. And they all raised money. And of course, they propped up the market and bought at the bottom, being the geniuses they are. But then, lo and behold, what happens 7 years later? Notice this gap. Now, when World War I started in July of 1914, they actually closed the stock exchange for 3 months. And when they reopened in December of 14, look at where it opened, the same bottom from 7 years before. So they didn't have computers, so forth and so on. But what drives markets? And the answer is emotions. And people have the same emotions. If this chart wasn't labeled, and I said, hey, look at this new quantum computer stock that I'm looking at here, it would be indistinguishable. You wouldn't be able to tell that it wasn't that if this thing wasn't labeled. I mean, no one would unless you're some kind of super Wall Street historian or whatever.
Yeah, it's always hilarious. CNBC does those name this mystery chart, and it's just a chart, and it's amazing. I'll think that it's something. I'll be like, I've seen that chart before. It's this, and this, and it's in something that's like in the zeitgeist or in my like current list of stocks that I'm looking through. Then they'll come back from break and they'll be like, oh, here's the stock. Yeah, it's Whirlpool. I'm
Yeah.
like, damn, I thought it was like Apple or something.
Well, I think that's one of the most interesting things about what we do here as what I call myself as a market technician. And I think it's a good advantage to other investment styles because whether you're looking at currency or stocks or cryptos, you see the same patterns. And that's because people, regardless of what people are trading, whether they're trading silver now or whether they were trading the Dow Jones 150 years ago, it's the same emotions. Oh, I was just going to say, it looked like silver was breaking out, but look at that reversal. Wow. Now, here's a situation where, like we just talked about, you get to resistance at a former resistance level. There are people who bought here, and as soon as they were done buying, silver went down, and they say, if I can ever get out of this at break even, I will. So when they can get out of it at break even, they do. Here, same thing, right? People buy things here in 1906, 1909, they can go to get out at break even. So the reason why I harp on these historical charts is because I just think it really shows how important psychology is to this whole thing here. So my chart of the day, which they asked me to do, is a stock I haven't even really looked at, RDW.
Yeah, Redwire. This is
Redwire.
one we look at every day. This is space infrastructure.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, I do a daily article where I try to teach like a technical analysis teaching lesson. So now, real interesting here. Why did we hit resistance here? The answer is, well, it was support here. And this is an emotional thing. This is buyer's remorse as well. Just like people who are buying here are selling here to get out at break even, people who bought here are selling here to get out break even. So now, as you can see, the stock is right here. So we're right at this resistance, and this is what we call testing resistance. Now, if we can get above that resistance, we call that a breakout. And the reason why that's considered a bullish thing is because it shows you that the sellers who created the resistance are gone. They either finished or canceled their orders. So a breakout is essentially a graphical illustration of supply leaving a market. Now, if new buyers come in, they'll have a hard time finding sellers, and they'll have to be willing to push the price higher. So therein is the idea behind the breakout. But anyway, I got to jump, everybody, because we do have a 9 o'clock meeting.
Mark, appreciate it. Look, if you play golf this week, go low. Have a good one. We're getting summer around here in Chicago, so we should be in good shape.
Yeah, I've been playing pretty well, man. I don't want to jinx myself, but I've been hitting the ball really well. So
okay, awesome. Keep it up, Mark. Thanks for everything. Please sign up for this man's Substack. Mark, we'll see you next week.
Okay, everybody. Thank you. See you next
All
week.
right, take care. Mark Putrino, everybody. Really good stuff from him as always. Again, I did put the QR code on the screen. I'll do it again here real quick. QR code upper right corner. If you want to sign up for Mark's Substack, review his stock of the day and all of the other content that he produces there, QR code top right corner of the screen. Now, it is really quickly, I just want to do one very quick street tweet, and then we're going to bring 13 on, and we're going to break down all of the movers. Let's get this out of the way. Street tweets is right now. Right, this one comes from Gary Black. The forward S&P 500 earnings yield is typically higher than the 10-year Treasury yield in most periods, reflecting a positive equity risk premium. As of this morning, this is no longer the case. The 10-year U.S. Treasury of 4.54 is now higher than the forward S&P earnings yield of 4.5 for the first time since early 2024. And prior to that, the 2000 dot-com bubble. This is likely triggering today's equity weakness as 10-year Treasury yields surge, fueled by the rise in Brent crude. So how many of you think this is the beginning of the end? This is the big sell-off. Let me know, producer. We might have to run a poll about that. But here you go. Treasury yields climbing 4.54. The end might be near. All right, all jokes aside, back to pro here. Let's go ahead and start pre-market pulse. Bring on 13, see how he's doing. Oh, I have to actually bring him on. If I'm going to say let's bring on 13, I ought to put him on the screen. 13, good morning.
Hello.
Look, I'll say this just to start off. Good to have some internet back, by the way. I have no indication that it's going to drop today, so we should be good.
Good. I'm glad that you've shed the whole tethering aspect and you're hardwired back with us.
Indeed. All right. Is there any particular place that you want to start here today?
Movers list doesn't look too great. We could probably knock that out pretty quick.
Okay, let's do that here real quick. I just want to answer this one question here. Acorn saying, Ryan, do you believe the tanking is done, or do you think we're going to get a small bounce? So I can't tell you if the lows are in for the day. I do, just based on the recent history, I do think at some point we're going to bounce today. And so I would be looking to try and play that, but I would do so with tight stops.
I got to point out that when I came on here, there was a notification that the chat was having trouble. So I can see that it's not updating for me.
Okay. Do you want to try leaving and coming back and seeing if that fixes it before we dive into the meat of the show here?
Sure. Let's give that a shot real quick.
Yeah. Just try refreshing it. I mean, might as well do it while my internet is stable, because if something happens and you can't do that. There goes 13. All right. We'll see if that corrects it for him. We need to have 13 in the chat. 13 needs to be able to see the chat. We'll bring him back on here and see how this goes. There's 13. How's the chat?
Well, it updated, but I still got that notification that it's having problems. So I don't know if I'm going to keep getting a new feed.
Okay, we'll see if it straightens out. If not, I'll pay you back for yesterday. I'll do some double duty here, reading comments that invoke your name, and we'll make sure we don't miss stuff. Kathy saying, bet on a Trump tweet today, or try and correct market since 10-year is above 4.5. That is another thing. So Acorns was asking me if I think the market is going to bounce. I said yes at some point. But Kathy, I think that, this is something else I can't really predict. I think you're right. I think we will probably see a tweet that tries to bring the market back up. We'll see if it works, though. I don't know what to expect there. Okay, 13, let's go hit that movers list real quick.
All right.
We'll start here. Well, you tell me. Where do we want to start?
Real quick to that point about a Trump tweet. He's coming back today, and he should arrive here in the afternoon. So I don't know that we'll get a tweet while he's aboard. Or after he comes home, but he's coming back today. So you're looking at HCW. This one I didn't look at because it was under $1 when I took a look at it here. Now I can see that it's just slightly climbed over it. We can take a look at this in real time here.
HCWB, this is trading up towards 110. That actually looks like a resistance area. Let me check and see if there was a newsprint.
Earnings yesterday after hours as well.
And look at the earnings too. The estimate was for a 44-cent loss. The company put up a 37-cent beat.
Right, and look at what the
sales
were.
Yeah,
that's a K to an M.
A K to an M. I like that. So this is a huge beat here. That's why it's trading higher. There was another thing here. It announces that one of its immunotherapeutic to discover to present bronchopulmonary dysplasia during IND enabling trials. So they also got drug news.
Yeah. And this is for their investigational new drug.
Yeah. And this is a U.S. stock. This is interesting. Stock is up 226% here. It was about a quarter yesterday. Yeah. 33 cents yesterday. 9.28% of the float shorted, 1 day to cover. Float on this bad boy, 6.15 million. On average, it trades 9.3 million shares, done 120 today.
Yeah, I think if this does get going here, and I don't know that it will, but let's say it continues to climb further into above the dollar level, you have resistance, I would say, probably just about shy of 120, but a really big area at 150. So we'll see if we even get all that. And there's other levels that we could look at if it continues to climb up, but that would be the first areas to be looking at for resistance, 120 and 150.
Okay. All right, really quickly here, I just want to clean up another comment. Lion, I'm sorry I missed this when you threw this comment out earlier. I was kind of pressed for time. Lion says, Ryan, in the beginning of May, I said, I'm expecting the market will tank and sell off by mid-May. And then he goes on to say, I think I nail it. I don't think you're there yet.
We're in mid-May, my man.
We are in mid-May, and we are at all-time highs. Now, if it starts to sell off today and continues through May, I will say yes. You absolutely nailed that. But right now, bro, we are up near all-time highs. A little bit of a pullback from yesterday's fresh all-time high is not a tank. Just going to throw that out there. But again, we'll see how today shakes out. Maybe I'm saying this now. The market gets absolutely pounded today, and Lions dancing on my grave at the end of the day.
Here's some levels to watch for if you like. I mean,
we'll go back. We'll go back to that. Let's do that here. Here's the SPY chart.
Okay, so yeah, you do have several support levels on the way down. If we ignore the previous all-time highs, which I mark off and look at, and they work, we have support coming down in a gap fill to the 20-day SMA. That's one area that I could see the market coming down to if we really start to sell off. That only amounts to about a 3.25% move down from the all-time high. If you want a 5% pullback, we're going to be closer to 712. All right. Now, if we're going to start correcting, we're going under 700, and 10% correction would be down at 674 and 58 cents. So, and that's going to take it underneath the
200,
the 200, the 200-day SMA. So, when you start to think about those numbers and these levels, it seems like a move like that is not really likely at this stage. Maybe we do end up getting down there, but right now, I think I'd be keeping an eye on that 20-day SMA and the 5% pullback level, because that seems like that could be more likely, and we might even get support ahead of that. So those would be the levels I'd be watching for if we really start to move down those earlier ones around 3 and 5%.
Okay. All right. Good stuff, 13. All right. Let's get back to the movers list. I definitely just wanted to clean that up, but I appreciate you walking with me on it. We'll see how this all shakes out here. Okay. HCWB. This actually looks all right. We covered that one. We'll see how it trades. TDIC. TDIC is back. Now, let's be very, very careful here. This stock got absolutely pounded yesterday. This was a lesson in why we don't hold these. Jay Rice, I'm glad you're here, because you always bust us for trading some of these, even when we make money on them, which is unbelievable. But this is a really good example of why Jay is saying, don't trade these, don't trade these, don't trade these, or I avoid them, is because this is what can happen. This traded up quickly, traded lower just as quickly, and went lower. It says it's up by 110% here today because it closed at 80 cents yesterday, and it's at 168 today. This is what it actually looks like.
It's almost like a 99% retracement.
Yeah, it's just.
So, if I'll take the side of, trade it if you want to risk it, but certainly don't own these things, because if you try to own it, then you give everything back. I think these are very risky to trade, but they can be good trades. It's just, if you have that risk appetite, that's up to you. And if not, don't touch it. It's just that simple. For as far as today goes, it's up over 110% to your point, because it was under $1 before this. So if you want to trade this, I'm not going to stop you, but just understand the risk, and it's staring you right in the face with these over the past 3 days. So this is your gator to wrestle. That's all I'm saying.
Your gator to wrestle. All right. I love it. I love that. All right. Jay Rice here saying TDIC makes Poet buy last night at 25 look tame. So really quickly, you guys were talking a lot about Poet yesterday. I opted not to play this, but I actually talked to one of my trader friends who's much older than me. And when I say older, I mean more experienced. He's been doing this for a long time, super wealthy guy. He gave me one of the best breakdowns ever. I'm not gonna give you his name yet. I am gonna try and bring him on the show at some point. But let me just. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. We've started to work on the experience to make the experience better on your network. I got another message from Xfinity here. Let's cross our fingers, folks. Let me just read this here in case 13 has to take over right away. He gave me a breakdown. I said, I'm not good at shorting stuff. And he's going to short Poet. He was telling me yesterday he was shorting Poet while I was on the phone with him. And I saw what happened in the after hours. And I was like, hey, man, hope you're okay. This is why I'm bad at this. Like, I recognize I'm not good at shorting. If I shorted Poet yesterday, let's just call it somewhere around 20, and this happened in the after hours, my ass would have covered. Okay, that's just how it goes. I would not have stayed in this. Here's the trade breakdown. These things are usually a 4-day quick burn, maybe a 5-day technical exhaustion. Worst case scenario, it could be a 2-week gamma trap because the option chain is flooded with out-of-the-money call options, which forces market makers to aggressively buy the stock, creating a gamma squeeze that could last for maybe 10 or 11 trading days. So we'll see which one. Volume is critical, and once it starts to dry up and the chart moves sideways, retail money panics a little bit and wants to move on to something else and just slowly bleeds down. But this thing is probably worth less than $5 a share eventually. I'm going to try and short 15,000 shares at an average price of 25 to 35. If it gets back to 10, I'll be happy with that.
So he's not happy up at 18?
No. So what I'm saying here is he was shorting yesterday, felt more pain in the after hours, shorted more and said, come to daddy. And today we're back down at 18. We're still $8 away from his price.
Poetic.
So I'm just saying this is not easy to do. I'm constantly poetic. I'm constantly asking for other help here. I figured I'd give you the trade plan. This is how really experienced high value traders look at stuff like this. So Anyway, nice little kind of an aside there. All right, we talked about TDIC. Be careful. Next here is going to be AUUD. This is Audia, and we've traded this one a handful of times before. Stock was $1.22 yesterday. It is up 71%. It is above $2 here today. We take a look at the news on this one. Audia submits an S4 for a merger with Thranman Holdings, establishing McCarthy Finnery as a unified AI platform. So I don't know, 13, did you go through this one at all by chance?
I not too much. I think they've already raised capital, like $12 million for the merger. But I think that's what this is going on, that S24 filing. So, and this is, I think this is going to lead to like several AI businesses as a result of that. So yeah, so it's a purpose-built AI native platform. McCarthy Finnery will operate 4 AI-enabled businesses: LT350, Influence Healthcare, Voyex, and Audia. So this mergers. I think they're also changing the ticker. Yes, it's going to be renamed McCarthy Finnery, and it will trade on Nasdaq under the ticker symbol MCFN. I didn't see, because I skimmed through this, so I didn't see when they are going to have this merger finalized. I would expect it would be soon, but didn't notice that. So I would have had to spend more time looking at that. As far as levels go on the chart, we're approaching one of the resistance areas. I have resistance at 220, and there's another one up. I think I saw another one up at 250. Hold on, let me make sure I got that right, because I only wrote one of them down. Silly me. No, it looks like we're actually trying to fill a gap. And if we do end up filling this gap, that's going to take us up over 3. So right now we're at this resistance area because that's where the 20-day SMA is. But if we get past that, then it looks like we could climb further, and we'll be in a gap that was established between April 23rd to 24th.
All right, good stuff there. AUUD. The next one, we'll see if you have it on the list, but this is Super League Enterprise. We've traded this one before a bunch of times. This also ramping here. They had earnings here this morning. It says that the conference call is still in progress. The stock is up by 65%. I know, Kathy, you were mentioning this one earlier when it started to move. Their adjusted EPS, a 98-cent loss. That's terrible, but it was better than the $2.08 loss that was estimated. So giddy up, I guess, question mark. Sales of 3.003 million beat the estimate of 2.813 million. So top and bottom line beat. I don't know what's going on in the conference call. I guess we could take a look at that when we get to transcript for it. Stock's up 68%. The stock loves to raise money. This company loves to raise money, FYI. Percent of float shorted here, 1.94% and 1.49 days to cover. Low on both metrics. Float is 1.5 million. On average, it trades less than 20,000 shares a day. Today, it's traded 21.25 million. You got any thoughts here on SLE, Super League Enterprise?
I think this is about to hit one of my resistance areas. I've got a resistance area at 715. I've had it marked off there previously. We're coming up to it. 705 is the current high. If we do get rejected here, I have support at VWAP. Now that I've got that out of the way, because that was more imminent, this is moving off of their earnings report, and they also provide an update on their business transition. They've been restructuring. They've been going through a corporate restructuring, and one of the things that they've already moved past is stabilization. Now they're trying to work on execution. They do have 11 million in the bank. I have a prior read of 14, so I think that's all because we just got the earnings today. So I have a read of 11 million in the bank. They still do lose quite a bit of money, although it's not as much as last quarter, which was a pretty big financial hit. So it looks like there is some improvement, and I think that's why you're seeing this, the stock moving here today. But I don't know how long this will last. We can just only trade these levels, and once we've got our trade in, let's just take this off of our books and call it good.
Okay, that works for me. 13. I don't know if your chat's working, but I gotta highlight this one. 13. You are nuts with a Z. What a crazy call yesterday. Hand clapping emoji. You told me to wait until SPY hits 750 and then short it. I appreciate that. What a precise call.
I have to. Well, you're welcome. Thanks for the shout out. Very, very so close to getting to 750, and I have to give credit to one of our folks over here in our Benzinga happy hour who provides us updates on what he's seeing on the options chains for the broader market. And he was indicating that 7,500 in the S&P 500 was where he was seeing a lot of options, kind of top out at. So that was, he's been really good with that. I've been listening to him. He's so that's been giving me some, kind of a guardrail to go through when I'm trying to figure out where price action is headed. And I thought that was a pretty good spot. So I was, adopting that and mentioning it. So shout out to him as well. He's really good with those options call outs.
I'll tell you what, we've started to incorporate that whole options breakdown as part of the happy hour recap on the SPY. Yep. And 13, you're not the only person that has told me and the group that they benefit from it. Shout out to Hakeem. I don't know if he's here today. Does a great job. He's a perma bear and we bust him for it and he laughs alongside of us, but he does great research. The guy's real sharp. So it is what it is. I have to address this comment just because of its lack of accuracy. Lion here says, Ryan is like a leader of an angry tribe. I literally preach happiness every single day that I'm awake in here. He starts it, and the whole tribe is coming after me now. I'll just say this, Lion, you would make an excellent vice president candidate for Gavin Newsom's upcoming presidential run with that kind of fake information. You would be absolutely amazing at it. None of that is true. I preach happiness and help here all of the time. I said nothing bad to you today. Nothing at all. I complimented you, and Cam's going after you, and you're blaming me for it.
All right, girls, you're all pretty. Let's get back to stocks.
Oh, man, it's too funny. I love you, Lion. All of it is jokes aside. Now, 13, let's get you laughing here. Guess what's next on the list? Yeah, it's back. Let's go. It's back. So this popped in the after hours. 140 was about the high. It's retraced about 40% of that move, but is holding there. China name up 52%, right at VWAP here. We'll see if it's if it has any news there. Don't have anything on the news feed here. Short interest, 15% of the float shorted, 1 day to cover. Float 2.42 million. You tell me what you think here.
I think that we can draw a number of trend lines here and get an indication of where we think the price is headed, as long as it holds certain levels. It seems to me like this is trying to come back up towards that after hours high, up at 141. But we need to hold a couple levels here. We're down at VWAP right now. I would want to see the reversal happen there, and if it doesn't happen there, at least the 65 EMA. If we don't get either one of those levels to provide support, we're coming back lower, maybe even go under $1. I would not want to take that shot at that point if we lose those levels. But if we hold them, we're going to be facing some resistance around 125 as we have since the after hours initial pop. And if we get through that, then the high from the after hours is up next.
Okay. We'll see if we're screaming BIA here today. Did you have anything else on your list that we should cover?
No, that was all of them. I did look at some others just to see what they were, because there was a long ETF, GEMG, and I was like, what is that? But that's off of GEMI, which is the underlying.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, Gemini space station, huh? What's that about? It's not actually a space station; it's a crypto treasury. So that's when my interest did this.
Oh, I wish I could just have that on a replay. It's not a space station; it was just a crypto treasury. Double top here as things coming back in. We'll see.
Yeah, sorry about the reverse Star Wars reference there. It's no moon; it's a space station. It's not a space station; it's a crypto.
I absolutely love it. The robot killer, JZXN. Okay, that's on the list here, and we're out of the names that we wanted to cover here. Another China name with AI news. I think it's a junker, though. Let's take a look together. First of all, definitely China. Stock is up by about 17% here. Now, you said that's on the back of some AI news. Well, I guess after we just took a look at Gemini space station, let's make sure it's actually AI news. GUZ Holdings signs an MOU with an AI company to develop intelligent imaging platforms, cloud infrastructure, and scalable data management systems. I think I would probably like some more information on that. It sounds like all of those things are already been created. AI imaging protocols and intelligent data pipelines explore practical application scenarios in smart retail, intelligence security, and media content management. The MOU establishes a long strategic cooperation framework. I will be honest, I mean, I know I'm just skimming this, so maybe I'm missing something. You folks probably have sharper eyes than I do. This seems fluffy to me right off the...
Not only that, this seems like it has a lot of really similar features to the news PR that TDIC got before it took off. Now, maybe I'm thinking of a different China name, but I could have sworn that TDIC received some kind of MOU or letter of intent or something, and then it started going, and it didn't really have that explosive move until a few days later. Let me go back and make sure that I'm right about that. But this seems like very, very, early innings of what TDIC was getting as far as news.
Okay, well now let's be fair. Let's be fair, because I think this is a really good pickup. TDIC did make a monster move higher, but it was very, very short-lived and made an even worse move lower. So if you're gonna do this, just be very careful. Be quick to move on with your profits as opposed to sticking around too long.
May 12th. TDIC entered into a MOU to explore development, implementation, and deployment of a comprehensive AI-powered intelligent image library platform. Gosh, that sounds almost exactly like the PR you just read.
Yeah, it does, actually. Sure does.
Is JZXN the next TDIC? Is now my next question.
Let's watch it. Put it on your watch list there. Market Sniper. Market Sniper, you're one of my favorite people here.
Don't do that.
So what you're saying is go all in. Market Sniper tries to throw gas on the fire every day, and I'll be honest, I'm here for it. That's not what we're saying, but I'm here for it. Word salad indeed, Mo. Okay. Is that it for the movers? I think so, right? Snell is back on here. That was one of the movers from yesterday. Leslie's is on here. I know we've traded this before. This is a pretty interesting chart. If this can maybe move back up to that 474 area, I don't know. We'll see. Anything else you folks want to look at? We got less than 3 minutes here. Lion, why don't we take a stock for Lion's talking about Broadcom. Let's smoke a peace pipe here just to show that the entire chat is friendly here and we're just playing around.
Why not?
Let's take, and since it's being rescheduled, I love that. Let's take a look here at Broadcom. And I know this will make Jay Harris happy, so we might as well just hit two birds with one stone here. Here's Broadcom. Now it's pulling back about 2.5% to this 428 level. Really think that the key level here is going to be the 20-day moving average, which has clearly found support at. You'll also notice that this is actually finding some support. Because we moved above it. It's finding some support at the top end of this Fibonacci. I believe this was an extension or a retracement, right? Yeah, it looks like I did a Fibonacci retracement here, and it is at the 0 level. So we drew it from here to the highs, and it is busted above that and is kind of using that as support. This one looks pretty good, but frankly, if you think that the May sell-off or the market sell-off or the tech move down or the AI bubble pop is at play here, you probably don't like this. 13, what do you think here on Broadcom with where it's at?
The more I look at longer time frames, the more it looks like it could be maybe seeing a short-term top. I could see this maybe coming back in under 400, although that's going to be a very big support level if we do see weakness here. And if it does happen to where the price comes in under 400, I would be looking at, I think I'd place it about 360 to where I think support would kick in. That's about all I've got here for if we do end up getting that reversal. We would need to see that loss of 400 first if we're going to go down to that level I just mentioned.
Okay. All right, good stuff there. Kevin says, I'm Canadian. I'm always friendly, except when I'm playing or watching hockey. I haven't met Kevin, but I can confirm that is a regular state of being for Canadians. Let me tell you, though, Kevin, your Habs, they look good. That was a really good game yesterday. Really good game yesterday. Okay, we're less than a minute. Let me move over to the main workspace here, and we'll get this Friday underway. Fingers crossed that my internet doesn't drop. Anne-Marie, if you see me go poof, you'll know what happened. Here's a look at Ondas, by the way. This down 3% after it's huge. Oh, where's Nikhil? Is Nikhil here this morning?
I don't know.
Yeah, Nikhil, let me know if you're here. Yesterday, when Ondas traded up on earnings right here to 1025, Nikhil informed the group that he was disappointed that the stock didn't go higher.
How about now?
Yeah, thankfully we went to 1170 later the same day. So, Nikhil, if you're out there, let me know how your day finished up. Market is open. Let's do it.
Cerberus opening under 300 this morning.
Ooh, that's a good one.
So JZXN first move is down. So that doesn't look like they're pumping that quite yet. Not seeing a whole lot of movement from the movers we looked at today. SLE looks like that's starting to get going here. If we do get a move up towards that 715 area that I was talking about. Seller in the way at 710.
SLE looks like it's really running into 7 there.
Yeah.
Kathy Wood bought a bunch of Cerberus yesterday. That totally tracks.
RGTZ, with everything being down, including quantum, RGTZ is up. It was up 10% a moment ago, but if you're looking to play some things to the downside, inverse ETF would be good. RGTZ looking for 11 now.
Market tried to bounce a little bit in the pre-market, but straight from the open, it has pulled back.
Yep. Audia losing VWAP. SLV just kind of back and forth right now. What's up?
And Brian saying, I'm going to be able to get Cerberus cheaper. I'm being patient. Brian, I completely agree with that. I was saying earlier, part of me makes me wonder if this is going to trade like FIG, where it actually bottoms first before it becomes a good trade. We'll see. But I'm with you on getting Cerberus cheaper.
And Snail, SNAL, the one that you were mentioning, that was a mover yesterday. This getting a lift out of the open, looking for a breakout over 125. There's a seller in the way there, and that's a resistance area that was previously supporting the pre-market. So maybe we do get a breakout with SNAL at 125. Needs a little bit more volume than this, though. Audio going lower. SLE still not doing much. BIA is finally moving up.
I love it. BW, we talked about this yesterday, Babcock and Wilcox. This is actually trading lower after the company is pricing in $200 million offering, 10.8 million shares. Talked about this yesterday on Happy Hour. Had a great day yesterday. Selling off here today on the back of that offering.
Now SLE is getting weaker, coming down to the VWAP, where that's an area of support. So far, Audia went down underneath VWAP, recaptured it, so getting some support from that level right now. This could turn up. We'll see if it does. Gonna have some resistance at about 215.
Seeing a large NVIDIA buy here. This is NVIDIA call buyer for next week's calls. That's the 22nd, May 22nd. The 245 calls, trader bought 2,000 of them, spent $710K.
RGTZ over 11 now, climbing. Looks like Audia is reversing, trying to climb back up. There may still be resistance at 215. Matter of fact,
here we go. Yeah. Sorry, 13.
No worries. Looking at the price ladder, there is a little seller in the way of 215. The sellers really start to stack up once you get up to the 220s. So we can expand some volume here. We can probably take those out, but we're going to need some more volume than the good amount that we're getting right now. It's going to have to expand.
Okay. And you guys mentioning here, Ondas. Ondas is flying. Let's take a look here real quick.
Well, that's because they're drones. Of course they fly.
That's because they're drones. Above yesterday's intraday high. Where's Nikhil? Where is he?
like Batman in the Dark Knight. Where are they?
HCWB, this is halted to the upside. That was a good mention. I still have Nikhil. There he is. Nikhil, how are you doing today? How are you doing today after saying Ondas didn't go up enough yesterday? Hopefully you're feeling better.
SLE halted to the downside. This went through VWAP and it's halted now. If there's support coming, it passed one spot. Another one might be 565, but I think this looks like it's headed towards 520.
Okay. 520 there. We'll see. Your AUUD kind of fell away, but guess what? Got supported by the VWAP 13. Let me just ask you right out here. Is this entry?
I think you might be able to, but it's looking like the volume kind of has faded a bit, so I don't think you want to pick it up now.
Yep, it does. And also Daniel saying AUUD, MACD telling it that it is not ready.
Yeah.
So thank you for the direct answer. I'm taking profit on Ondas. Mark, bring that register, baby. Let's go. Love to see it.
BIA is approaching the pre-market high, so we might get a move here with this one. There is a big seller in the way at 135, so if we get a good amount of volume expansion, we'll just blast right past him. But we need that volume. Got to have it.
The biggest volume. You got to have the volume.
Looks like we're getting...
13's not amused.
Tremendous volume.
There you go.
Got it. So BIA is looking like that's of the movers we looked at. That's the one that might provide the best move for the time being here. All the other ones not looking that great. Super League halted the downside. Audia on the verge of losing 2. And JZXN not doing a whole lot this morning.
This BIA has to really break 130. Feel like that might test higher there.
130 is a spot, but 135 has got a bigger seller. So it looks like we could get through 130, but I'm kind of questioning the 135. Here we are.
Yep, there it is. Right to 135. Look at that.
We're trying to chew through that seller right now, but he's still there.
Yep, sorry, I should have looked at the seller there. My apologies. Market Sniper saying, I like the gap on AUUD to 360-ish. So let me ask you, if you think it holds VWAP, that's AUUD. I have a different stock up here. If you think AUUD can hold VWAP here, or if it just says straight up can, do you think it actually tries to make a move to that 240 and then possible gap fill? On 12, rejected at resistance up there at 12. We talked about that a lot. Sorry, 13, get back in there.
You're asking him, right?
I'm asking anyone, so if you have an answer for that, I'll take it. But yeah, he basically was the one that said he likes the gap to 360.
We're still trying to get into that gap here, and I think it's like 215, 220 when you actually do enter it. You clear the wick to get into that gap. So and there's some sellers in the way that are preventing that from happening. So until we get some bigger volume expansion to get through all these sellers, I don't know that we're going to necessarily do that just yet. But we just need that volume. We need to clear, I would say 220, and then we're going to be in that gap fill territory. We could see some of that gap fill, if not all of it. But right now, it's not looking like that's the case. We need
no. And in fact, this actually looks like it's going to break VWAP here.
140 print, and then it came back in.
All good. You should never have to apologize for sound effects, not on this channel. Real quick, Joe asking if we could take a look at Microsoft. Here is your Microsoft chart. And then Fake Beat said, clearly there's a rotation in software. So you're saying folks are rotating into software now?
I mean, we've kind of seen some of that with, by the way, SNAL is kind of running here. Yeah, because we've been trading. When we were seeing software weaken, we saw the hardware do better. Mm-hmm. Now that we're starting to see some of these hardware names sell, I guess it wouldn't be surprising to see some of the software names do better. But so that would be rotation, and it looks like Snail is about to halt, or maybe it's not halted. There's just a big buyer.
Here, I'll put it on screen. Sorry, I wasn't on that one.
It's okay.
Ryan Citrini retweeted an interesting article on all the AI build-out names. I'll DM it to you. Thank you. I'll share it with the group. It's pretty comprehensive. My weekend homework. Okay. Well, thanks for sharing it, Jay. We can help you with that.
Bitcoin under 80,000. It's getting closer to 79,000 now. Reminds me of that conversation we had yesterday. I wonder what the thought is now.
Chris, he's here. Ask Chris. He's here.
Chris, I know. I'm just joking, but this is I think we're gonna see a lot of back and forth with Bitcoin, but maybe I'm wrong, and we do see it get back up to 100K by July.
Jay is saying now is a Trump buy. I didn't see news on that. Maybe I just missed it though.
What's now? What's a Trump buy? Like what stocks?
I think he's saying that Trump bought it.
Oh, okay, I see. Because there was a
Trump
release.
part of that circle bought into now. Clarify, Jay.
Because okay, I thought maybe he was referring to what Trump disclosed he was buying and selling recently. Because that was a release not too long ago. Super League is open now and headed lower. BIOP pulled back underneath the VWAP after hitting 140. And JZXN sucks.
Oh, that's funny. It was disclosed yesterday that Trump bought NOW. So that was what you were talking about there.
Starting to see a little lift here from Cerberus. It's trying to come back over 300. Ooh. See if you can break through the hot gates where Leonidas is holding 300.
that 300 level is going to be important.
Yeah.
That thing is going to be important. That is for sure.
Super League Gaming trying to turn around here.
Super League Enterprise, I thought.
What?
Super League Enterprise is SLE.
Oh, I was just reading what my broker has it here listed as Super League Gaming.
Yeah, it used to be that.
Mm-hmm. SLGG, right?
Yeah. Yep.
All right. SLE, I'll just call it that.
I mean, I'm sorry. I'm being annoying. You can do whatever. Ondas, in order for more of a run, we actually really want to see it clear out 12. That actually puts 15 on deck. And as who was it? Was that G-Man? Who was that? I don't want to get the name wrong, but I'm going to. Your call out there of the $12 resistance area. Indeed, that is intact there, and we're going to need that to get taken out here. I can't find your comment. I'm sorry.
We need to, one of the things I was saying yesterday about on this is that we need to see a weekly close over 12. And if we get that, I think that we go to 15 next. I think that's going to be the trigger to get up to 15. We need to see that close over 12.
Let's see how Figma's doing post its earnings. Basically flat. Nothing yet.
It's risk off today.
Highs. Say again?
It's risk off today. For now, anyway.
So far, yeah. Yeah, and like I said, that market trade up right at the open there, that basically took S&P futures right to the VWAP. It's been a big red candle since then.
Looks like we're getting a bounce in some names right now. Don't know how long it'll last, though. I keep looking over as if there's going to be some kind of update in the chat. And I keep forgetting that it's broken today.
Yeah, I will update you when I see them there.
Oh, Mobax
13 has G finally bottomed.
Has G?
Thank you. Genpact? Is that what you're asking about?
I'll take a look at it. I don't think I've ever looked at this company, but I'll look at it. Gosh, that's not a good looking day or week, whatever it is that is causing it weak. Okay, let me just look at this real quick here. I'll give you an answer. So,
I'm going to keep floating around until you're ready to do that.
Sure.
Yes, Kathy. Yes, PIII is halted according to the signals tool here in Pro. Halted This looks like to the upside at 645.
So this had earnings recently. Where is this? Bermuda. This had earnings recently, and it guided lower, and that's why you're coming down to where we're at now. It looks like we hit, a previous support area, but I don't know that this is necessarily finished bottoming. It looks like it is trying to finish bottoming, but it's been trying to do that for the past couple of days. If it can't recapture 30, then I would say that no, it might not have bottomed. It may just be a dead cat bounce. I think that's what I would be wanting to see here with Genpact is a recapture of 30. If we get that and we hold above 30 for more than a couple of days, I think that would indicate a little bit more, intensely that this is bottoming. But I don't think that I would lean on this being bottomed yet. Look at the price action prior to this drop on Friday, May 8th. This was consolidating and trying to get support, trying to bottom and turn around, back in April and early May, and eventually it just fell through. So that's the kind of thing that I would want to avoid and not take a position when I think it's looking like it's starting to bottom. I want to see confirmation that we're turning around, and I think recapturing $30 and holding above that would be my first indication that we're bottoming. So the short answer is I don't think so.
Okay.
I would need to see confirmation.
Selena saying Ryan Starwood adding more. I added this week, so I'm not necessarily doing it right now. Starwood right at 17. Boy, that's a good price for it.
Okay.
AUUD, it just shook out those weak hands.
Yep. We came down to 185, almost to the 65 EMA, recaptured VWAP, and now it's starting to look like we may be trying to climb higher here. We're still struggling with some of these other EMAs like the 9 and the 15. I think we need to get past 210 and hold above that. That would be what I think needs to happen here if we're going to climb higher.
Okay, 210, your trigger there.
Yeah, 210. We start climbing over that, hold above it. I think that that will help this lift it higher. That's what I think.
See if AUD can keep firming up here. FIG still going sideways. How did Cerberus do? CBRS.
That's slightly over 300 right now.
Yeah, that's just battling with 300 right now.
Here's Audia at 10, trying to get over it. Battling. SLE still heading lower. BIA is trying to recover up to VWAP. And JZXN is trying to get back up to VWAP as well.
AUD move kind of nasty there. And that's just popped above 10 for 1 split second at 11 and then came back in a little bit.
And then your price ladder might show that there's a lot of stacking up of sellers at 209 now.
Yep, sure does. And then one of them is walking down here to 207.
Yeah, there's a fight happening right now. Who's going to win, the Bulls or the Bears?
QUCY, this is that quantum cyber for yesterday. This is trading above its pre-market highs.
Looks like we took out that 210 seller a bit there. Still some sellers as we approach 215, but we're climbing. There we go.
Oh, there's a pop up to 223 AUUD. All right.
There we
Were
go.
you in that 13? Did you stay through that? That was awesome.
No, I'm out now.
I don't blame you. I'd have sold into that pop too. There's a register ring for you. Good stuff.
Okay, so and now that'll probably do whatever now. Maybe it goes higher. I don't know. But BIA, this is still coming up to its VWAP. Super League still leaking down toward its 65 EMA. I think the 65 EMA is where you're going to see a bounce in SLE, but I don't know that it's necessarily going to recover. But I do think that we'll see a bounce. That's going to be at about somewhere between 520 and 525. RGTZ climbed up and hit 1130 before backing off, but we are still above the VWAP. We've been above the VWAP pretty much the entirety of the regular session. So still looking pretty good, but if we start to lose that VWAP, I think I'd be done with this. But nice to see that move in RGTZ. This is a good day trader.
Okay, good stuff. What else is on the list here? SMCI, that's lower. Rivian lower. How's Ondas doing? Ondas pulled a little bit, but is trying to trade back up. VWAP there at 1152. PIII or PIII, yeah, PIII. This opened out of its halt and higher 7 is its resistance here. Good morning, Ken.
P3 Health.
Good sell on that AUD. That thing basically just popped into that resistance area and immediately came back in. Good job on that, 13.
Thank you. I didn't mention any of the trend lines I was drawing with this, but one that I drew
for AUD.
For AUD, yep. I used the low at 725. That's after we had this breakout that took us up to what is this? I'm sorry, the breakout that took us up to like 212 in the pre-market, and then we came back down to 171. Now I used that 171 low and drew it through the next low at 805, and I just kept that going, and that was a bit of a resistance area since then, even in the pre-market. So I just used that. So yeah, it's right there. Now you got to go a little bit higher before the opening. It's going to be the 805 low.
So right,
not too, the 805 low. You're at 9. You're at 9 o'clock. You're at 9. There you go.
Yeah. So I see this one. Yeah. Gotcha. I got you.
Yeah, it looks a lot more like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't see that that wick that took us up there to that trend line. I got it on my broker, but I don't see it on yours. But anyway,
Kathy, PIII halted at 734. Kathy's out at 730. That is well done.
Ooh, that's a good one. This thing looks like it was kind of well, it had earnings, but it looks like it was also short squeezing with 18.8% of the float short and 7.59 days to cover. That looks like this was squeezing off the earnings. Good trade. All right. Looks like Audia is going to try again. I don't know if we're going to get that explosive move again, but it's climbing up.
I almost think you'd want another pull here like it did before, right?
Volume's not, it's not as great as it was that last time, but we could get a sudden spike out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So,
that almost seems like gambling here. I think buying that pullback was the better move.
Yeah, I'm not in this right now.
How did that HCWB do? That's just kind of grinding higher. No big moves there. SOXS was at the top of the list there. Mark Putrino talked about this morning. If you think the semiconductors are going to continue to pull back. Did anyone position for that, by the way? Has anyone positioned for a possible regression back to the mean on the broader market or semiconductors more specifically?
I was only positioned for RGTZ because I still have a real issue with their valuation. So I'm just using some technicals in RGTI, and when it gets to certain levels, I'm like, it might be a good idea with the RGTZ. And so I had some going into today. Let's look at Rigetti today. Let's see what that's doing. It's down under 18 again. Good. Let's see here. So this move down in Rigetti is a loss of the 20-day SMA, which it's been riding, since April up to the high that it had into earnings. I think that we're going to see some weakness now. So we maybe might see some more RGTZ go higher, and we'll know if we start. We're pretty close to a support area. We're almost at it right now. I would say if we lose 1775, we may end up going down to the 50-day SMA, which is at 1665.
So, real quick here, AMD Retro. You're mentioning AMD. That actually looked like it was getting rejected, and might try to roll over lower here. I would wonder if this can get back and stay above its VWAP. Nikhil asking, how is SOX different from SOXL? One is short, one is long. So one goes up as the SMH goes up, the other goes down. And it says in the name which is which. I agree with you, Joe. I think Apple's going for 300. I think it goes above it too.
Well, based on our discussion, it certainly belongs above 300. The discussion yesterday, it certainly belongs above 300 if the all the things that we believe that they might do with Apple Health ends up happening.
Yeah, I think that's a big possible like revenue stream for it.
Wow, Cerberus is just getting slapped.
Brian said it earlier. Brian said my thesis earlier. You'll be able to get this for cheaper.
Yeah, but I mean, it just out of nowhere just had this drop.
Yep.
Although it has kind of been, hammering lower prints in the pre-market. This finally broke down beneath that level that it was getting support at. Yeah. So now Audia. Sorry, go ahead.
SPY is trading up here.
Oh, that was really interesting there on that Cerberus chart. But real quick, Audia losing the VWAP right now, so this is weakening. I'm going to go back to Cerberus because that was an interesting little chart there that I saw. It looked like there may have been a trend line you could draw on the underside that indicates where the price might either fall or further or get support. Let's see here how this looks. Oh yeah, that's a breakdown. Now, what I've done on the 5-minute is I've used the some of these lows to draw a trend line. We just broke down beneath that trend line. Now
look at the screen.
It's a little bit different, but that'll work too. Let's just go with that, and then let's look at that trend line as resistance.
Okay, perfect.
So it may struggle to recapture 280 with that trend line there. That's going to give us a little indication of where resistance could be. So we could see some lower prints. Now, if we recapture this, we're going to want to see this trend line be support. Looks like SLE is trying to turn around. Still not above VWAP yet, but trying to recover.
All right, Kathy, I love this comment here. Kathy's saying 4 days of pullback, and now SanDisk is trying to move higher. So here's the top, right? May 11th, and 1, 2, 3, and this would be, I guess, the 4th day. I guess maybe include that top, the 4th day. Kathy, what level do you need to see this get above before you think that the trend is different? Like, doesn't it really kind of need to clear out 1,400 maybe 1,410? This is a strong bounce here today.
What was the low this morning?
Let me actually grab that for you here. Intraday low on SanDisk from this morning was 1315.75.
Okay. When I look at it daily, that's very close to the support level it was getting at on May 7th. So there's support down there around 1300, I would say. That's the second instance now where we've seen the price reverse off that area. Because the May 7th was the first one. It was actually a breakout spot on May 5th. We back tested it on May 7th. We're back down here testing that as support today. We're getting a lift. Now, if we can't recapture 1400, I think that 1300 support is going to come back into play.
Good.
Super League testing the VWAP.
Kathy, is that something you swing long over the weekend? Just out of curiosity. Here is the VWAP test on SLE. Good mention, 13. Sean saying poet looking weak. Sean, I was laughing at, was that your comment earlier that said I bought puts so the market's going to rip? Was that you? I've been there before. Here's poet. Actually, this looks like it's moved above its VWAP, but it actually looks like this wants to print lower here. Kathy, more context here. SanDisk, I would like it to pull back to the 20-day. That's at about 12.12 to add to my long position. For now, I'm swing trading around my long position.
When it comes to poet, there's a big gap fill to the downside that starts at about 1740. So if you start seeing this come down to 1740 and it starts to print lower, you may end up getting that gap fill, which if you're using the wicks, it's going to fill at 1475, but if you're using the real body, it'll be more like 1437. Audia just dancing around the VWAP, the 9 EMA, and the 15 EMA. Can't decide what it wants to do. Super League still trying to get back above that VWAP. Those other fund names not looking like not really doing much. But meanwhile, RGTZ putting in new highs, 1150 now.
TDIC done nothing at 160, despite showing that it was up 100%. Market on that first bounce there, we've actually sunk beneath the VWAP now. And if you look at the chart of the S&P futures on the 15-minute chart, it looks like another push to VWAP and another rejection.
AIIO was having a great day yesterday. It gave a lot of that back, and now it is halted to the downside. I'm about to look and see what on. Maybe there's an offering with this.
AIIO?
AIIO. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And by the way, JJ, float on PIII, I've got it at 383K.
Don't see any news that would explain why this sudden move down into a halt. Maybe it's just not appeared up here yet, but something's caused this to absolutely tank from over $5 down to 440 in a halt. Looks like Audia is still trying to get back above that VWAP. It's like it's having a little bit better of a time, but need to see some better volume than this, I think. Bitcoin under 79,000 now.
That continues to pull. You're welcome, JJ.
Cerberus got support at 275. It's trying to come back up to VWAP and where that support was in the pre-market before we had this breakdown. So that that support level where we broke down at is now resistance. That's 290, it looks like. May face some rejection there. Super League still trying to get over VWAP. Audia still at 2.
And thinking about it, it's Weebit Nano is almost 5. Love it thinking about it. Love it.
Rigetti continues to, or I'm sorry, RGTZ continues to climb.
I'll be honest with you, I don't see anything great here in terms of trading opportunities. I don't have anything myself.
It's a little slow.
Snail, I'll take a look at that.
Yeah, that one's not too okay. That just broke out of its where it was topping out. It was like a 135 resistance that it was running into, and now it just broke out of that. There's a little trend line here that I think we should have drawn, but it's too late now because we just broke over it. So maybe there's going to be resistance closer to 145. As a matter of fact, I see a large seller on the way. That was where the some of the pre-market levels were running into resistance. 145, 150 is going to be the next big area to get over here. Lots of sellers in the way.
Ondas went red, and then G-Man saying some love. The support on 11 looks weak. Well, it's not even really been tested yet, has it? No, we didn't. We just kind of went right through it. Haven't even back tested that yet. What I would say on Ondas is I would check back in at the end of the day. This thing loves to make an inverse move later on in the day. And again, with this being a highly followed FinTwit stock, you're going to see a lot of shake and bake in this. And we see it every time it PRs something. Nothing changed. No, the trading action today is not going to change the fact that the earnings were awesome. So.
And you know, it seems that lately a lot of these names love to go on moves after we jump off.
That's right.
We saw some of that yesterday.
Yes, we did.
So
amazing that we see it every day. 13.
We're starting to, yeah. Well, maybe today's a little bit different with how weak the market is. So it could be more muted. But you know, keep these movers on your watch list if you're still trading throughout the day. They may return. Yeah, I think the one that I was trading yesterday was DXF, because that started going a run right after we jumped off, and I got 25% out of that trade, and that was it. It didn't go on a big explosive run, but it was pretty good.
Snail, this is a mover getting mentioned here by Bruce. This actually looks like this wants to try and push higher. We'll see. AMAT, we talked about that as being one of the earnings stocks earlier. That's really done nothing. Like, it hasn't moved up or down from that pre-market range. I'm going to look at Figma again as well. Figma's trying to go, but we'll see. And then there was another one. Scott mentioning PIII, which several of you folks have traded already. not done at 8. This thing has kept going here. This is the stock of the day.
Let me look at this one. Also, seeing some support kick in here for Bitcoin, so there could be a reversal in that. Oh yeah, I did look at the earnings. Let me look at the chart for this one. Maybe there's a level I can identify here. We are going through some serious consolidation right now, some past consolidation in PIII. $10 looks like a really big resistance area if we do get through this consolidation back from October of 2025. And so here's the next two upside levels that I would keep an eye on for PII. If we're going higher, which this thing has already got a 91 RSI, so it's already on questionable ground with me there. If we do go higher, $10 and the 500-day SMA would be my next two upside targets.
SPY back below 740, so that's down at the lows. Bitcoin is still bouncing 13, and a quick check-in on the VIX, 1879 on the VIX.
That's a little elevated. JZXN dropped beneath the 200 EMA, and that has given back more than what it started with. So sucks to suck. And then meanwhile, we just have these other movers that we've been looking at, just kind of whipping around, doing a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah. Kevin Pham saying NVIDIA could have good earnings and sell off at the same time. It's happened before, and it's happened a few times before. The market needs to sell off. It's real overheated. We all kind of feel that way. What worries me is that when we all feel that way, the market's going to do the opposite and put everyone in the hurt locker. But we'll see how this ends up going. What I will say about that is that we've also talked about what's the event, right? What's that one event that's really going to cause everything to change? And we've hypothesized that perhaps that NVIDIA earnings that you're talking about is maybe that moment. We talked about some of the IPOs being that moment. Cerberus has been a real disappointment since it's opened. Basically had a great pop, oversubscribed, popped, and then it's just bled the entire time. Let's see what happens with NVIDIA. What if they put up a good number, go green, and then reverse, and then the next day everything else is down? You could see some increased selling pressure if that's the case.
To his point, the last time they had earnings, it's exactly what we saw. They had great earnings, they guided great, and then they sold off. You just have to look at February 25th. That was the day that they reported earnings. It was after hours. So they had a great day, nice topping out candle. They reported earnings, and then they sold off for the next 2 days, almost down to the tune of 9.5%. So there's there could be a correction happening just in NVIDIA that could pull down the entire market or that whole semi sector. Absolutely. Now, where does that take us? Well, we're still 5 days out from the earnings, so there could be a lot of back and forth until then. But if we do get something similar, let's just start with the highest close that we have. That's going to be about 236. And if we look at what that same kind of correction looks like, that takes us almost to the 20-day SMA. That's where it may end up going if we get the same kind of reaction from their earnings print.
ORGN WIS, you got a good eye, man. ORGN, this popped up here. Didn't halt yet, but this is another good pop there. FIG continues to trade to the upside. That CEO was super bullish and chesty yesterday.
Oh, yeah. Is he saying with his chest?
He was fairly cocky on the interview. 13, I'm going to step away for just 1 sec. I'll be right back, though, okay?
Okay. So looking at the daily chart for FIG, one nice thing that stands out about this is that we've recaptured the 50-day SMA for the first time since March 9th. Now, the question is, can we hold this level? It seems like we have a much better shot of holding up here than we did back in March because we were back and forth a lot in March and February, late February. So we would want to see some consistent closing above this 50-day SMA. And if we get that, I think that we're going to see, could potentially see 25, maybe 26. It looks like there's going to be some more upside coming here, but first things first, let's get multiple closes above that 50-day SMA. It's looking pretty good. Let's see if I see anything on a larger time frame here. Okay, so the 20-week SMA is the level I'd be concerned about for resistance. That has never been tested, and we're coming up to it right now. So that's a level I believe we need to watch for. 20-week SMA. Going back to some of these movers, doesn't look like they are getting a lot of enthusiasm. Audia still in the same spot it's been in pretty much all morning, with a little bit of whipping around back and forth. SLE still struggling to recapture the VWAP. Yeah, is just sideways. One test to get above the VWAP, it took us up to, actually a break through the VWAP that took us up to 140, and we came right back down. Have not been above it since.
The most amazing thing is just as I sat down and put my earbuds back in, I heard you yelling "Bia." And it was just, I was like, this is perfect. This is exactly what we needed on a Friday there. Fig, by the way, more highs, continuing to trade higher.
AIIO, I mentioned this earlier. This was halted to the downside. It's turned around. It's reclaimed everything it gave back when that on that halt down. And I still don't know what the reason for all that was. So,
Lynn here saying data centers not monetizing, being ignored by the market. Lynn, what trade would you be looking into on that? Right, I would assume that you'd think some of the data center or hyperscaler stocks should move lower if that's the case. Do you have any targets for that?
Here's an old one that we've a couple old ones that we've traded before that are moving today. ERNA and TRAW, TRAW. Those have both had some nice mornings.
And this was another recent. Both of these were recent movers there. But ERNA was a pretty big one. TRAW doing well today. Joe mentioning that NBIS, that's been really good since its earnings, huh, Joe?
Let's see here.
NBIS, the high here was 233. It looks like maybe it's going back to that. PIII is open. Higher it goes. This thing's going to 10, guys. I'll tell you what, this is the trade of the day. I wasn't on this one at
all. Uh-oh.
Oh, had a little bit of a I'm still here. My internet is still on.
I don't know if that was you, because I was getting some stuff over on my side too.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, well, whatever. I'm still here. Nope. There I don't go. I'm here. But this PII, I wasn't on this at all. This is the trade of the day.
Yeah. Audia, closer to the 65 EMA now. That's coming lower. BIA is about to hit its VWAP again, finally. And what else do we have here? Still waiting for AIIO to unhalt. Bitcoin recaptured 79K. And TDIC has gone limp.
Oh, man.
Here we go with BIA busting through the VWAP now. Still facing a bunch of sellers in the 130s and 140s. But they're cleaning up right now. Maybe this runs into some trouble around 132. I have a trend line there that was working earlier. We'll see if it does there again.
I'm refreshing my platform, but 13, that might have been you got an oh my from Anne Marie. So that might have been a little over. That might be the line.
I apologize.
You might have just tested the line.
I do like to skirt the edge sometimes.
Oh, Ryan, my response above. Let me scroll up. Data center's not monetized. I didn't see it anywhere. I see your original comment about data centers not monetizing, but I don't see your response. Maybe I did drop right when you sent that response. I don't know. I still want to know what it is, though, Lynn.
That response broke his internet.
If you can't laugh about stuff, you can't. I mean, what's the point then? Market's trying to trade back up here.
ERNA now at 31%. This it's got to be careful with this one. It's a little spready. It's a little thin, but man, this is having some nice moves today. Looks like some of the mineral names are up too. Wow, Redwire hit 1520 this morning.
Someone is asking what you think about Redwire, despite talking about it every day.
think it's probably one of the best space plays.
I was going to say, isn't this one of your favorite ones? I think that you've actually used that term before.
Yeah. They've got a lot of, and I think it'll be more apparent, how good these space companies are once this SpaceX IPO happens and we start getting, more of the theme running. What's up?
This is a Bloomberg headline on Twitter. China, U.S. agree to set up trade and investment councils.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Sources. What?
Yeah, that was
this
news.
Is a repeat? Okay, I thought that was new. Sorry.
Well, no. It's not a repeat. I was saying that this was something that was being floated and talked about between the two countries about setting up a trade and investment board. Right. That's what it's about.
Yeah.
This was news that that has been talked about for the past day and a half. It seems. So it looks like this is now just made official.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying, because like I want, I guess I can't say this for sure, but I want to say that this little pop that we're seeing in the S&P futures and the SPY obviously is on the back of that. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Here's the move.
Wouldn't surprise me, to be honest. Reducing tariffs. NVIDIA's future in China remains unclear. Doesn't look like there were any concessions on Taiwan.
Yeah, that we heard. That we actually heard yesterday. I think that was one of the things that was kind of anticipated we might get out of this, and then when we didn't get anything out of that. And by the way, so this move here, this move up in the S&P, this basically took us right to the VWAP again on the futures chart. So this is clearly a resistance area. We'll see if we have the strength to push above it. I haven't seen any other headlines that might kind of juice this a little bit more. So
BIA went right to the trend line that I've drawn here, and it was slightly rejected to where it was pushed down briefly beneath the VWAP, but we're still above it. The trend line that I drew is, you probably can see it from the two wicks just before we opened, and then the current, and then the wick that we just had.
Here's BIA's chart. SPY crossing 740 now and about to pull back on it. So that's kind of what I'm wondering too, G-Man. Sorry, 13. I feel like I've just ran you over a few times there. I'm wondering if we actually move above the VWAP here or if it just pulls. So far, we're going higher. Sorry, 13.
So the trend line I was pointing out, if you see those two wicks just prior to the open, draw the trend line there and just extend it.
I'm sorry, the two in the pre-market here?
Yeah, two wicks in the pre-market, those two right there.
And extend it. Got it. Yep. Yeah, that's what I thought you said, but. Are we going to get that big? I am not positioned in this. I basically just scalped the SPY when it started moving back up. I did get a buy signal on the indicator. I hope I didn't run from that too soon. G-Man, I had the same thought that you did. I thought that was going to get rejected right at the VWAP. We are pushing through it now.
Which one? Beyond?
No, SPY.
SPY.
The curl back here on SPY. I thought it was going to. So okay. So I'm not doing a good job explaining this, and it is entirely my fault. I am looking at the SPY. I'm trading the SPY, and I'm looking at the futures. And I'm looking at the futures on a 15-minute time frame, and it basically on this little curl here, which moved through the VWAP on SPY, the futures got stopped right at the VWAP. Little bit of a back and forth, and now it's pushing higher. So it looks to me like SPY wants to try and trade higher. Next spot would be right in here. This 741, 742.
I'm looking at 742 as the resistance area. Look at earlier this morning, we came down to 742. That was support. We bounced, and then we lost it earlier, about a couple hours later. And now we're coming back up to that spot as resistance. So
CW Parker taking the 743.0 DTE calls. That's what I was scalping here. There's a big volume candle on that. I'm out this, though. It's not nice. This is continuing to go. This is another 20 cents from where it was at.
Very low volume, though.
Very low volume indeed. And I just, I'm looking at this and I'm just thinking to myself, okay, Ryan, how can you do better on this, right? How can you do better? And I'm just, the headline there, I feel like that Trump says Fox discourages Taiwan going independent. Trump says on Taiwan not looking to travel 9,500 miles to fight a war.
Who said this?
Trump. This is coming on the back of, I guess she asked him basically if he would defend Taiwan, and he just didn't answer and moved on. And now he's saying that he doesn't want to, start a conflict there. I'm just wondering if the market move up is on this news. That's what it feels like it.
BIA still pushing up towards those highs of 140. There's always a possibility that Taiwan and Japan develop nuclear weapons together, and that wouldn't take long. And then there's also the possibility of the U.S. stationing nuclear weapons in Taiwan. And I understand that both of those events would be incredibly destabilizing, but so would invading Taiwan. So
that market is still pushing.
Mm-hmm.
That is still pushing. Vuzi, high of session. That was the one that you talked about reporting earnings yesterday, right, Chris? It's good to see you again in the happy hour, Chris. And here we go. So the reported earnings came down, held the low from the earnings print, and is now moving back up. Chris, you think if we clear out this 270, we can get back towards 3? Vuzi?
This looks like it double bottomed in the morning here at 240. Well, after hours and the morning.
Yep. That's it. Now, Lion, I know you were trying to do a victory lap on your May call, and I kind of gave you a rib shot about it. But separately from that, didn't you also say, like earlier this morning when you first signed on, that you think the market might bounce today despite the futures being lower? I could have sworn that you said that earlier today. Maybe I'm confusing that with a different day. But this is separate from the May call that we already kind of joked about. I could have sworn that you were calling for a possible bounce intraday here, and it looks like that's what we're getting. I sold at resistance 1, didn't have many, and just effectively that was a scalp. This thing has kept going now. 40 cents higher than my sale. Not a good job, I'm afraid, but profit, so can't complain.
Well, walking to the weekend with a smirk instead of a smile.
Oh, I'm walking into the weekend with a smile regardless. No. We're walking into this weekend. Summer is here in Chicago. I know down in Texas you've had it for a little bit and you're all happy and warm about that. That's great. But we're getting 79 today, 80 and 86 over the weekend. I'm walking in happy. I'll tell you that right now. I need a Benzinga Pro coupon code. Okay, you're going to have to talk to James about the coupon code, but he'll give you one for Benzinga. Let me give you his contact information so you can reach out to him today. Ed?
Looks like we recaptured that 742 in SPY. Still question mark on 743.
There's I just put James's contact information. Ed, he will be able to give you the best possible discount code that we have available. Ryan, it's going to rain as well. Yeah, I'll take that though. As long as it doesn't rain right after I finish washing my car and I have enough time to get it into the garage, I'll be okay. Because that happens all the time, by the way. It's like, oh, fresh car that looks like it's still wet and mirror. Let me just rain on it real quick to ruin that.
Yeah.
Yes,
Birds
Lion.
and Clouds plot.
What?
Birds and Clouds plot.
Oh man! So last week when I did it, I drove home from where I was doing it. I got it into the parking lot, and there was literally a bird dropping nearly in the center of the hood. I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" Little wash and wax spray, boop, it's gone.
I have to deploy anti-drone measures against those shitting birds. Anyway, SLE still trying to push up into 140. I'm sorry, not SLE, BIA. BIA is trying to push into 140. I'm sorry. SLE is actually struggling to recapture VWAP still.
Liam, I will ping James. I don't have your email, so maybe shoot me an email, Liam, and I'll warm intro you to James and make sure I make that connection for you. I have no problem doing that. Shoot me an email. I'm sure I'll find it. I see Mike. Hey, what do you drive? I drive an M550, BMW M550. Lion says, Ryan, I'm bearish going into the summer, but we may see bounces on the day for day trading. And that is exactly what I was trying to get at, Lion. It feels like that is kind of what I was waiting for here today. I did a very poor job because I just basically sold at R1, didn't think it was going to go any higher. And now, lo and behold, we're getting the exact bounce that you were hoping for.
And is that summer weakness kind of predicated on low consumption, low travel, kind of just like more of a muted summer season with where gas prices are? I get the sense that we're going to see a little bit of slowing here because of all that, and just wondering if that's kind of lining up.
Wasn't that what our poll question was about here today? Let me see if that's still up.
You had a poll question about what alternatives I think we were looking at doing if fuel prices were too high, but it was a very finite list.
Yeah, I don't see the poll live anymore in the chat. Here we go. Producer, he's listening and he's already on top of it because he's an absolute G. Thank you, producer. Let me grab those results here for you. Here were the poll results. So this is what we had, 13. Tell me if this tracks with what you were thinking about. With higher gas prices, which best describes you? The four choices were scaling back on grocery spending, adjusting travel plans for the summer, scaling back on takeout spending, or none of the above. Okay, those were the four choices to describe how you're behaving with the increased gas prices. Here are the results. 50% of you, half of the respondents, said there's no change. The increased gas prices are causing no change. You're doing nothing differently. 27% of you said I'm scaling back on takeout spending. 15% of you said I'm adjusting travel plans for the summer. And 8% of you said I'm scaling back on grocery spending. We had good participation from that poll too.
So half is making changes, the other half isn't.
Yep.
I mean,
that's exactly it. It is a coin flip, and the changes there, we broke it down into grocery spending, travel spending, and what was the third one there? Takeout spending. And I think those are three good buckets.
Yeah, takeout, I don't see a whole lot of change, but I could see a lot of change in travel, especially with airlines canceling flights. And I'm sure the Spirit collapse is also weighing on travel plans as well. So I would think that the most impact is going to be travel, whether you're driving, flying, maybe even taking a train. As a matter of fact, maybe taking a train might be the way that people get around this summer.
Jay's already on top of that. He said, you left one out. I ride my bike more often. Now that's impressive, Jay, because I've been to where you live in Arizona and it's hot as a mug down there. So you're riding your bike and that's something else.
But this doesn't impact. It's not impacted by fuel prices, where all those other ones are. I think that's the only reason why it wasn't included, unless you're talking about like a motorcycle.
And then Kevin here says, I don't know if this audience represents the broader population, though. And Kevin, You're right about that. I actually think our group, one of the things I've noticed about our group over the years that I've been doing this, we have a really good, diverse mix of people in here. Like, it's not all wealthy Wall Street people. A number of you folks have reached out to me and said, you're starting, you really want to make this a bigger part of your financial future and all of that. Like, we have people all across the income spectrum in this show. I like those results. I think that's interesting. This poll should be re-asked later. You know what, Fake Beat? That might not. Maybe we should. Producer, I don't know what you think about this. Maybe we'll ask Chris as well. But maybe we should run that poll like a month and a half, maybe 2 months out, and see if there's any change. I would be interested in the delta in that too. You guys are giving me really good ideas here. Yeah, Def. Okay. Thank you, producer.
All right. So as far as these movers are going, looks like we're finally getting some more movement here with Audia. That's trying to recapture VWAP. could use some better volume. SLE is trying to recapture it as well. BIA is losing it. And would I even bother looking at JCXN now? But that's what's happening with the movers. And I think it's time for me to make some room.
Yeah, actually, oh my God, we had so much fun in those discussions there. I lost track of time. I'm glad you were looking at it, 13. 13, any closing words for the group? I'll start here. I'm just glad that my internet didn't drop throughout this. Now that I've said that, Anne-Marie's like, you just jinxed us. I'm going to have to finish this off by myself. Way to go, Ryan. Any closing words for the group, 13?
That was another fun week. A lot of things, drove the market to where we wanted it to go. And now we're just waiting to see if it's going to weaken here. But, just make sure you're protecting yourselves and enjoy your weekend. And I'll be back here on Monday. And do we have a show on Monday? I forget. We have some things coming up.
Yes. So, okay. So really quickly with the schedule, this is a really good reminder. Really quickly, yes, we do have a show here on Monday. We have a show Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday next week. And 13, you are, as far as I'm aware, you're available for all of those.
Yeah.
Then Thursday and Friday, no show. The following week, Monday is a holiday. That is Memorial Day. So there's nothing for anybody. But we will also not have a show Tuesday and Wednesday. That is the 26th and 27th. And we will return on Thursday. So we will see you on Monday.
I will see you all on Monday. Enjoy your weekend, folks. Have a good one. Enjoy Anne-Marie. Bye-bye.
All right. Take care, 13. Really good stuff this week. We appreciate you, and we'll see you next week. 13's departure leaves room for Anne-Marie Baiynd. Let's bring her on and see how she's doing. Anne-Marie, happy Friday. How are you?
I'm doing great. I love listening to you and 13. I literally burst out laughing at least 3 times.
Well, that makes one, so that's a good start. We'll try to go from there. All right. What do you got for us here today, Anne-Marie?
So, I know we're beating the dead horse with NVIDIA, but that's a terrible saying. I don't like
it either. I don't like it either. I know what it means. I say it myself. I love horses.
Yeah, they're amazing creatures.
Yeah, they sure are.
Think about what other animal could race into gunfire. You want to talk about the bravery of a warhorse?
Yeah.
Beyond comprehension. Their bravery is amazing. So,
yeah.
Anyways, moving on. So here's something super interesting. We do know that the broad market is sort of being there's a game of cat and mouse being played with the option guys and the dealers. And this lift off of the floor where we came in at the open and the punch up is going to be a real tell, because this is one of the first times in several days that we've actually opened up underneath our VWAP and stayed there, So definitely something to watch. But as you commented earlier in the show that a lot of people were buying NVIDIA calls, right? And so, oops, that's not what I want. I want to go to the NVIDIA calls and talk a little bit about what this does to the market. So if we take a look at, what day are their earnings? Are their earnings like the 15th or the 20th? I can tell from there. Okay, it's the week of the 22nd.
NVIDIA, it's next Wednesday. It is the 20th. Yeah.
Okay, so let's see how they are piling up. Again, tons of interest, implied vol. It's amazing that people have volume in here, but I suppose it's from times past that's just going to expire and go away. But as we get down into these zones, you can see 10,000 at 220, and then look at all the buying down here. Now, as a reminder, when options get bought, if you and I go out and buy calls outright, a dealer sells it to us, a market maker, someone that provides liquidity from one step to the other. So if we buy calls from him, he's now short calls. So he has to go to the market to buy shares. So let's say we look at all of the volume today, and that's at 23,000 so far. What that means is when we buy that at $245, that strike from him, he has to go out and buy 25 shares. That's what that delta tells us. It tells us how many equivalent shares that strike actually weights. So when he sells us that call, he now has a negative 24 delta. He goes and buys 24 shares, and now his delta is 0. See, he doesn't really care what the market does because
Mhm.
he is going to make money on either side of who he's buying and selling calls and stock to. Now, if this number starts exploding higher, this is what I want to tell everybody. Watch this number here. If it really starts running hot towards the end of the day, what's very likely to be seen is a continued push up of stock buying because this number's getting bigger. And the bigger this number gets, the bigger the delta is going to get. Notice we started talking about it. It was 24. Now it's 25. And so the more that it moves, the more stock they'll have to buy. And the more stock they have to buy, the more stock they end up having to buy until the option either expires or they start unwinding. Somebody says, hey, I bought it at 325. I'm going to sell it at 340, and so on and so forth. If we see that fade, the best time to engage in the NVIDIA trade would be right after the earnings candle opens up, because we'll be able to see what's going on, whether it gaps down or it gaps up. Listen, they're going to blow the doors off of earnings again, but the last 4 or 5 earnings events, they've really just sort of caught themselves in a little bit of a peat bog, as it were, right? It's sideways here, down, comes up to the next earnings. That's almost sideways motion. And then we've got sideways action here and here. Are they potentially breaking out of this range? Is NVIDIA finally going to say, hey, no, we've got X and this is going to be whatever? Yes, but remember, what's really causing this move upward is everybody going out to buy those calls. It's not being driven by, what's the word? True sentiment in terms of what the stock is going to do. It's just, this is a technical move to the upside.
So it's not organic. Would that be a good?
I think
It's kind of forced because the call buying is
yeah,
forcing the market.
forced.
Okay.
Yes, forced is it's a great thing because, and again, you made mention of the commentary that I put on X the other day when I said the whole market is having its GameStop moment.
Yep.
And that's really exactly what's being done, particularly in the semis and those sorts of things. So what I'm going to send to you over the weekend is the 13F reports that I do that analysis every quarter. Some great new analysis pushed up there, and I'll send it to you so you can use it in whatever form or fashion you want to with the folks at Benzinga. So I know I yammered on for 7 minutes
That's
just
great.
on that.
We love your insight.
I do want you to realize that this is the reason that these hot names are running, right? And so I love what your guy said about Poet and what his
Oh yeah, you
analysis
like that?
was.
Yeah.
Golly, that was so good. But he's talking about that same gamma squeeze.
Yep.
He just used those fancy words, and I turned it into just regular words to tell us what everybody is doing. That gamma squeeze is what causes the dealers to keep buying. And so that unwind could take 10 days or so. So when we talk on Tuesday, if you want to get in front of the trade, you certainly can, but there's going to be a vol crush, I think, that's going to be fairly dramatic. And if it spikes very high, there's going to be a lot of quick profit taking, and then we're going to see a collapse. in price, which would, for those of us that want to buy NVIDIA at the cheap, we could have our moment in the next couple of weeks. All right, so I would wait for that. If we're saying to ourselves, hey, could the semis be rolling over? Here is super interesting event. Here's the last doji. It was yesterday, day before yesterday, excuse me. Today, we're opening up with another doji. It could easily be a space where we could say, let's see if we can find a cheap short there to run it to ground over the next week. So let's do that. If you're okay with that.
Yes, I'm sorry. I did.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Okay. So if we're taking a look at the short, what we want to see is where are the traders crowding around in this weekly expiry. And so the open interest, 4,400 right there at the money, and then 2,400, and then 4,700. Now, how quickly can this fall? That's the big question. So the market makers have priced in $47 of motion. This is something else that says, hey, listen, options are expensive.
Yeah.
They're expensive. And so if they're looking at a $40 move, 520 would be their break-even spot for the trader. I think that that's really far away. And so maybe the 530, 520, Anne Marie, press the right button, would you? All right, 530, 520, and then 510. It's 45 cents. Here's where I think we end up seeing some asymmetry in terms of the ability to capture gains if we have a little bit of a fade. Now, listen, every fade is going to get bought here. Every fade is going to get bought. Strategically, there's still a floor under the market. We've got VIX expiration after the fact, but nothing that doesn't say, hey, we could have ourselves a flush, scare people, could go, and then it would turn right around and give us a V. And so as long as we're sitting above our 200 simple moving average on the daily, which we are, and that 200 is still sloped upward, our dips are going to be buys. So you either wait for the dip and go long, or you take the outside bet and go, let me see if I can get this for a couple of pennies. This is one of those spaces where you could do that. Okay. All right.
Cool.
Next thing. What else might we look at? XLE. Okay, so we have a little bit of a mixed bag here. Maybe I should use the USO. So here's my thought. I don't know if you saw oil this morning.
It's higher, 3.25%.
Yeah. So oil futures, this thing is, and I hate to say it, it's not looking great for us. It really isn't. We're gonna, I mean, we are energy independent. Yes, doesn't mean that fuel is not going to get more and more expensive.
Right.
So what we have is a potential dip buying space, but take a look at what's happened in the near term. On a daily chart, this has bought the 50 simple moving average the last 2 times that this has happened. So 2 things are going to happen. It's either going to hold a bounce or it's not. So we know definitively if we're staring down the chart and it loses 96, we've got ourselves more downward flow. But if it holds, we've got ourselves some room to run. And so let's take a look at the USO. It's not even come into the 30. It's holding the 50. It's holding the 20. It's sitting right above this space. So let's see if we have some sort of noise that pushes this. Remember, everything is in reflexive motion right now. Massive moves up, going to get bought, going to get sold off. Savage moves down, going to get bought up. So what are we playing for that? Let's take a look at it and see how cheap we can get it. 155 would be that next space, but let's see how much they are charging us to move. Let's not go more than 14 days out. Let's see where they've got those puts. 120. A lot of hopeful people up there that are out of the money. So, okay, so we've got open interest. Well, the volume is thin here on the weeklies. Let's see. Let's go to June. We just have to get out of this in 2 weeks. If it savagely moves to the north, we're going to have to get out. And so what are they pricing in? $25. Options continue to get very expensive, but look at where this is. 16,000 open interest at 157, no volume to speak of. So that's very interesting. Okay, so let's look at a 155 to 165 to 175. Okay, so this one's whoa. Okay, so this is moving all around. It's because the volume is a little thin. Put in the stink bid for about 60 bucks, right? So see if you can get it for 65. I'm going to do the same trade, see if it'll get me in. So I'll let you know if it fills. But what this tells us here is, hey, listen, if we have a savage move to the upside, $65 will easily, we could get 4 or 5x on this. Easily. You could get 10x and then some if it goes all the way up to 65, but I think it'll top out above that region and then fade. If you're thinking about the other side, 25 bucks, so that's 120. Isn't that where everybody else is sitting? Yeah, we've got almost the same amount as 132. You could simply, I don't know that it's going to come back that far. You could do the 125, 115, 105, and that's 95 cents. Again, put it in there for about 65. See if it fills, right? What we are looking for is savage reflexivity. So you've got to put alerts on the chart. And so we're going to put an alert up here at our 155. And then at 125. That was what I said, right? Yes, I did. I said 125. Yeah. Oops. First, let's do this. You have any big plans for the weekend?
Golf. I was just saying before you got on here, we're going to get our first taste of summer weekend here in Chicago. You know how beautiful the summers in Chicago are. And we're going to get it this weekend. 79 today, 80 something tomorrow, 86 on Sunday. I got a tea time booked for Sunday already. I'm washing the car with a couple of buddies tomorrow. I might go to a car show early on Sunday. So I'm going to have a good one.
That sounds fantastic.
I'm going to be outside almost the entire weekend. It's going to be great.
That is fabulous. Nothing quite like touching grass.
That's right. Get a nice little tan too.
Yes. There you go. There you go. All right. So essentially, that's what I'm thinking about for those big reflexive motions. Do you have anything on the earnings watch or things that you're looking for? You know, there's so much, literally, we could get up tomorrow. And so much could have been repriced, right? So your thought is not, oh my gosh, I don't want to miss out on the next big move. There's always going to be a big move in the market. You just have to have patience. That's your
Yeah.
superpower. Just ask Berkshire Hathaway,
Right.
right? I don't know. Those got 56% cash. 56%.
They're currently
That's
in the process of being patient. All right, Anne Marie, here's what we got for next week. You tell me what you like here. I'm
yes,
going to start with the biggest ones, and I'm going to move down from there. Deere,
perfect.
Walmart, Ross Stores, Target, TJX, NetEase, Nvidia, ADI, Lowe's, Intuit, Home Depot, and Keys.
Wow.
Honorable mention to
Okay,
Twilio
so
is also on that list.
yeah, that those names are really going to be very important to get a pulse on how Joe Normal is doing, right? Which
Especially the Walmart, Target, and Ross Stores one. Yeah.
yes. Right. Well, Home Depot
Yeah,
too,
you're
right?
right. Home Depot and Lowe's. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, all of that is going to be super important. So, um, let's just go through peek at a couple of them.
Uh,
So, if we take a look first at deer, um, Caterpillar had that monster move to the north because they aligned themselves with the hyperscalers, right? And so, because we're going to build data centers, yada yada yada, and could that be, could that come in just a bit? On top of that, if who knows how much the farmers can actually buy new equipment in the current state. Um, for me, I have a little bit of a negative slant on deer, but the dips are clearly going to be buys in
yeah.
my mind.
This is
Simply,
my problem, Anne Marie, is that I have a negative, like, philosophical view on deer because of the whole right to repair thing that's going on, where they're forcing farmers to buy new equipment as instead of being able to repair it themselves. I hate that. I hate it so much.
yeah,
But I agree with you. I think the stock is buy on dip. I really do.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And notice what happened to their last earnings event. Their last earnings event was really pretty dreadful. And so remember how you can get this to tell you where it's going is you just draw Fibonacci around the daily candlestick for that earnings event. And if it breaks down, you just start walking through the 50% ranges. And so it's sitting at a failure zone in my mind and on its way to potentially the 200 simple moving average, which gives us, something like $500 as the event. I can't imagine that they don't get continued backlash on that. But, when you're locked into a piece of $1 million farm equipment that you can't get fixed, and all they have to do is turn a switch that shuts down all your electronics, you're pretty much
Yep.
hamstrung, right? And so the backlash is going to be new sales. And I think that we'll probably see some problems there. So I would not be disinclined to short this one into the earnings event, which is on the 21st before the market open. Let's see where these guys are trading. So this is actually a trade that I have up here. It's the 570, 560, 550 put in June. And I easily think that that's a trade that's going to work as it bounces off of the floor, that put side, but I think we're going to fall way below that into so if we're thinking to ourselves, hey, let's see what everybody else is thinking. They're here at the 550, and that looks like a protection formation. Very thin volume here. Very, very thin volume. So what might you get? Well, if you're staring down the 500 to 490, a dollar, just the regular spread, you could also do a combination trade, which you could sell the 600, 610, and that essentially pays for your entire trade, right? You go for debit. So now what you could do is if that 490 holds as your floor and it doesn't go any further, you could also do a butterfly, excuse me, an iron condor, where you get 340 and this one will still pay. So it could go all the way down to 490. You'd make $1,000 on the put spread, and you've already collected $340 on the short iron condor. So if it does nothing, you're still net 240. So that's actually a nice positioning. Take a look at that. So that is that's one that I would take a peek at. Walmart, those guys are probably going to hold their own.
Yep.
I don't know. Are they getting paid back for the tariff things? What's going on with the tariff paybacks?
Yeah, tariff refunds. I haven't seen any news for Walmart on that. I know that they've started for some companies, but I haven't seen Walmart listed in that. Let me see if I can find anything here off the news feed.
Okay, so in the meantime, what the chart's done is recover from the prior earnings, which generally bullish, right? But again, we're looking at a dip buy formation, right? We want to see the dip potentially come into 110 to 113 or so. That would be interesting from an iron condor perspective. Breaking out and up. Let's see what they're telling us they're priced into the movement. $10.
And by the way, here, Anne-Marie, here's an
Go
answer
ahead.
to your question. Walmart is expected to be paid back, but the refund process is underway and not immediate. Reporting says Walmart could be due up to $10.2 billion in refunds, though the CFO has said the timing is uncertain because the process is complex. So they expect some, but it doesn't look like it's a huge thing for them. They're kind of waiting to see how it shakes up.
Okay, so super interesting. The options are, of course, expensive. And so if it's a $10 move, then 120 to 122 is what they've priced the break even at. So you can see people sort of crowding in this space, but I think it's because the stock has just, been essentially parabolic. All of these guys with their puts are now out of the money. If it does fade, I mean, $27 for the 105 or 33 for the 110, you could easily buy the spread. 110 to 97.50 is 14 cents. And that's essentially inside of one standard deviation of what they're looking at. So if per happenstance they end up moving to the upside to the $10 mark, we've got that 145 to maybe if you did 145 to 155, it would be 80 cents. And so again, not overly expensive, but what has Walmart typically done? Its moves, you normally have about a week to 10 days for it to really end up going where it's going. So having an iron condor inside of that space is not a bad idea, but I would do it after the release, because notice here's
Okay.
the release, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 trading days, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 days caught in this peat bog. Here, it was only 4 days for the breakout. But you can see if it loses the edge and recaptures the edge, that's when you can have yourself an iron condor, as long as it doesn't break to the north. And this is the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days before it really starts holding above that earnings event. So post earnings, probably the cheaper way to go around this.
With Walmart. Okay. We can check on that. Let's see. That was the 21st, I believe. So that's Thursday. So we should be able to you're going to talk about position after. We won't be here on Thursday or Friday next week. So okay.
But we can talk about it on Tuesday and set it up in the event. We can say, hey, if this happens, do this.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. I think we will do that here. Anne-Marie, we're out of time here, but Tom is saying big thank you to Anne-Marie for that December Oracle play, the butterfly. So he had mentioned this, I think, the other day. So you're helping people make money, Anne-Marie. That's what we love.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
All right. Anne-Marie, really good stuff. Have a great weekend. We'll see you on Tuesday.
You too.
I definitely will. All right. That is Anne-Marie Baiynd, folks, an options master. We'll continue to bring her back. Really good stuff. Now, Anne-Marie's departure clears the way for Paulo, who is joining us today. Let's bring him on. Oh, there we go. Paulo, good morning. How are you? I cannot hear you okay this time. For the first time.
All right.
There it is.
Looks like I was muted.
There it is. We got it. All right. Paulo, what do you got for us?
As always, we're going to check some potential setups. Also looking at NASDAQ, which is having a very strong rally. And my favorite setup right now for a long-term position, which would be ServiceNow.
Okay, fantastic. Trading Made Simple with Paulo starts right now.
Welcome back, traders. This is Sandra with Trading Made Simple. I'm here to show you short-term proven strategies. People think trading is a one-size-fits-all market. It's not. We live trade and train daily. Let's talk trading.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. How is it going? I hope we are all having a great week. And let's get started. As always, to the right here, I have the chat room. So if anyone would like to request any chart, any ticker, any stock, please type it in the chat room, and I would be more than happy to check it out. We're going to start, as always, with our broad market analysis for the indices. What is going on the indices? Massive breakouts, massive rallies. We're going to continue checking and updating on our potential Elliott wave structure. Then I would be sharing my favorite stock picks right now. And of course, we're always going to leave some important time to go with request. So to the right here, I can see the chat room. If you would like to request any stock, any ticker, any chart you would like to see, just type the ticker in the chat room, and I would be more than happy to check it out. Let's get started. So we got here the S&P 500, which is on a very, very strong rally, massive recovery after the almost 10% correction we saw during February and March. Momentum is still strong. We have two important momentum signals. First, we got a breakout on the RSI. This is the weekly RSI. We are breaking out from a resistance trend line. A technique I like to use with momentum indicators such as the RSI is to chart it as if it was a stock. You can do higher highs, lower lows, higher lows too. And you can sometimes also even find very important setups, chart patterns, right? In this case, we're having a downtrending resistance trend line, but we are breaking out on the weekly RSI, indicating momentum is still rising, and momentum usually precedes price. That's not the only bullish momentum signal we have. We got a bullish MACD crossover with rising histogram. So even though the bullish crossover already happened, some weeks ago. The histogram is still rising, which is indicating that momentum is not slowing down for the S&P 500. As if that wouldn't be enough, we have expanding Bollinger Bands, which is indicating that after a period of contraction in the bands and consolidation in price action, we are probably, we already kind of started a rally, but expanding bands indicate that this rally still has room to the upside despite the massive recovery we're seeing. Now, we do got a technical resistance here, which is an ascending resistance trend line joining the 2024 high and the 2025 highs here too. So we would need to start breaking above 74.60, 74.70 for a clear breakout. And if we can start breaking above 74.60, 74.70, and we can clearly hold and above that level, I would be understanding that we're clearing this resistance and continuing higher. I also wouldn't be surprised maybe to see a bit of consolidation while we let the Bollinger Bands expand higher, but the Bollinger Bands are still contracting. So if we do see a bit of a pullback, I would understand we're just letting those bands expand higher before we can resume further upside here. Let's go now with the Dow. The Dow, it's actually starting to see momentum building up too. I think we're basically back at all-time highs. Yes, we're back at all-time highs here. Why is it not showing my chart? 1 second. There it is. We're basically back at all-time highs on what seems a bit of a bull flag pattern. The RSI is not breaking out yet, so the Dow is not leading this recovery, but we just had a bullish MACD crossover rising histogram, so maybe the Dow is actually building its momentum to break above previous all-time highs and run higher. The Bollinger Bands are not spreading out with the power we're seeing on the S&P 500, on the NASDAQ, so I still think that momentum right now is focused on the tech sector, and that brings us to the NASDAQ. Clear momentum here for the NASDAQ, and this is one of the most bullish charts I got in the market. We have a rising wedge pattern. We broke out, right, on what seems an ABC correction on a wave 2, and we successfully retest that breakout level, confirming with a higher high. So if my Elliott wave structure and analysis would be correct, of course, there is also always the possibility that this structure is incorrect. Elliott wave analyses can be subjective, even though they're golden rules that do repeat through time, and we have additional confirmation of price action on indicators such as like the ones we always mention, that wave 1 goes from oversold to overbought, wave 2 back into equilibrium, wave 3 has the highest point on the momentum indicators, wave 4 back to equilibrium, and wave 5 has the bearish divergence. We're seeing a similar scenario on what seems a developing Elliott wave structure, going with wave 1 from oversold into overbought, wave 2 back into equilibrium, wave 3 so far has the highest point on the indicator, and that is one of the main reasons I do think this is a developing Elliott wave 3. Bollinger Bands are expanding very, very, very strong here for the NASDAQ, what does appear like a wave 3. Now, the key, the trick here with the NASDAQ is that we got a second candlestick outside of the Bollinger Bands. So it's a bit unusual for price to remain outside and above of the Bollinger Bands week after week. So I wouldn't be rolling out here a potential bull flag while we let those Bollinger Bands expand higher, and then we could resume the momentum. But still, I would say macro scenario for the NASDAQ is looking very positive, especially with momentum indicators pointing higher and Bollinger Bands expanding higher. Another important bullish chart would be, of course, small caps here with the IWM. IWM is breaking out from a stage 1 accumulation pattern. We also got like a double bottom on the weekly time frame. We can see we broke out from the accumulation pattern, also from the horizontal long-term build out. We retested the double bottom breakout level, and we confirmed with the break higher. All right, Bollinger Bands just expanded. We would need also another breakout on momentum indicator, but we do got a bullish MACD crossover, but what we don't have is a rising histogram. Still, this does seem a wave 2 correction, which we already confirmed higher. So I would understand with what we're seeing in the chart that this would be a wave 3 developing for IWM. And finally, RKK, which I personally use it to measure risk on, risk off momentum. RKK, of course, it is strongly correlated to high growth risk on tech stocks, right? So what I do like about the chart for RKK, not necessarily the ETF itself, but what it represents, which is high growth risk on setups. I do think this is a clear stage 1 accumulation, because we do have here the big volume on the volume bars, and we also have the big volume on the volume profile, indicating that there was massive activity around 36, 45, this range, and now we're actually seeing price break higher. So understanding that only institutions can trigger this amount of volume, and institutions are usually smart money, that means there was very big trading activity here, and I don't think institutions were actually panic selling RKK here, especially with what we're seeing price do after we started breaking outside. So I would understand, even though we cannot confirm with that information, I would understand that institutions did load up here. Could be the sector, could be the RKK itself, could also be the sector here. And this does look like a stage 1 ready to break out. Now, how would I trade? How would I play an RKK breakout here if you don't feel like playing RKK itself, the ticker? The biggest holding for RKK is Tesla. So RKK breaking out, I would understand that would be signaling momentum into Tesla. And also very risk on high speculative growth sector that RKK holds is genomics, biotechs, also actually 3, and fintech here, fintech. So if we are seeing a breakout on RKK, I do think those 3 sectors would be looking strong: genomics, biotechs, and fintech. Also, as an individual stock, Tesla. Now let's jump into individual stocks. I will share some of my favorite stock picks right now, and then we're going with our requests. I see we have a couple of requests here to the right, and everyone feel completely welcome to request any chart, any stock, any ticker we would like to see. First, actually, let me do an update on Marvel. I mentioned it as my biggest position, and I was calling it a buy, so I think it's important to also do an update. Marvel is breaking out from its long-term structure as all the semiconductor stock they have. Momentum, I mean, what can I say about the RSI? We broke out on the RSI, super strong. MACD, is this the record high for the MACD? Might be. Might also be the record high for the RSI. So this is clearly a wave 3 on a developing low wave cycle. For Marvel Technologies, we have the big volume, those big volume bars that came in here around these lows. We had a wave 1 with the RSI going from oversold to overbought. Wave 2 went all the way back here to equilibrium. We bounced from equilibrium nicely. And wave 3, as we always mention, has the highest point on the indicator. So this is a clearly wave 3. Now, let's apply some Fibonacci projections for some targets on Marvel here. If this is a wave 3, which I do strongly think it is, and I think price action is almost absolutely confirming it, usually wave 3 goes to the 1.6 or sometimes to the 2.6 Fibonacci extension. We already broke past the wave, the 1.6. We got expanding Bollinger Bands. Yes, we are outside of the Bollinger Band range, so maybe we could see a bit of consolidation. But with such a strong expansion on the Bollinger Bands, I mean, look at these bands. I would understand maybe we could consolidate, and wave 3 could even reach the 2.6 target, which would be around 2.10 per share. Now, when to take profits on Marvel? If my Elliott wave structure is correct, this would be wave 1, wave 2. Let's say wave 3, we reach the 2.6. Then I would be looking for the wave 4 correction. Wave 4 correction would bring maybe a potential pullback. Forget about the specific levels. I'm just signaling the wave structure. After, what happened there? All right, after we actually have a potential wave 4 correction. If our structure is correct, wave 5 should be doing here a brand new all-time high. Wave 5 should be doing here a brand new all-time high. And after we have here this structure, we would be going into a wave 5 brand new all-time high. And that is where I would be starting to look for a potential top here. That's where I would be starting to look here for a potential top in Marvel. As soon as we have that wave 3 top, the wave 4 correction, and then a brand new all-time high, I would be looking to take profits. Signals that the Elon wave cycle could be getting completed. It would be when we actually, if we do a brand new high, a bearish divergence. If we start having a bearish divergence on the RSI indicator and we break higher with a brand new all-time high, that would confirm a potential wave 5. All right, so now let's go with my favorite buy right now. Of course, I like Marvel, but I would call it right now a hold. I wouldn't rate it a buy right now. What I would rate a buy right now would be here, Service Now. So what do we got for Service Now? We got what seems so far a completed 5-wave Elliott wave correction structure. We had wave 1 lower, the recovery, wave 3 lower, wave 4 recovery, and we confirm with wave 5 lower here with brand new lows. This doesn't necessarily mean the bottom is in, but this is already the final wave 5 here. And what we're seeing is we're seeing here a breakout on the RSI indicator, which is telling us that we are potentially breaking higher here, on the RSI indicator. We're starting to have a bullish MACD crossover. On the weekly time frame, so that is actually looking very bullish, and we have the big candlesticks here. This is massive volume in the candlesticks and the volume bars here, indicating that this does seem capitulation, and I do think we're about to see a potential bullish momentum. I'm building my position here for Service Now. Of course, not financial advice, but I would like to share and disclose that I am a Service Now investor. I actually started my position somewhere around 145. I bought a bit more at 98, and I'm buying a bit more. I bought a bit more here this week around 90s, 88 and lower 90s. All right. Now, what is bullish about this for Service Now? What is bullish would be insider activity. What do we got on the insider activity? Last 6 months here for Service Now, we have 400, almost 500,000 purchases against, basically for round numbers, 30,000 sales. So we got 500,000 purchases against 30,000 sales. That's how much? That's like a 15 to 1, almost 20 to 1 insider buy to sell ratio. That's extremely strong for Service Now. Insiders are massively buying this stock. Where are they buying it? They're buying it here with those big volume bars. We also have a bullish divergence. I didn't mention that on the weekly RSI. We can see this low against this low was actually a higher low on the RSI, indicating that the bearish momentum is fading. We're actually starting to flip the momentum higher. And of course, as we mentioned, we got the breakout on the RSI. Service Now, I think I would call it my top pick right now to going long. And I also do like Amazon here. I personally think Amazon is about to do something as Google did last year. We have a bullish MACD crossover. We're also breaking out on the RSI indicator. And we have a rising wedge structure. We had a rising wedge structure, which is actually breaking out here. We're retesting here the breakout. We're retesting here the breakout at 260. And this does look like a wave 1 higher ABC correction with a wave 2, which was actually the 0.6 Fibonacci retracement. I already deleted that of the chart. And now I would be using the Fibonacci extension for a potential wave 3 forecast. So if my analysis is correct and Amazon is breaking out and this is a wave 3 for Amazon, a potential wave 3 target Sometimes it's between the 1 and 1.6. If it is extended, it goes into the 2.6. I don't think it's going to be extended, such as Marvel that already broke above the 1.6 and it's heading to the 2.6. I don't think Amazon will necessarily be an extended wave 3, but at least wave 3 would be hitting either the 1 Fibonacci or the 1.6. So if this turns into a successful breakout and we start confirming that this is a successful breakout, breaking above our previous highs of 280, I would be looking at the 1.6. My price target for Amazon would be 350 per share. And I also want to check insider activity. I don't know what I'm about to see here. So let's see. What are insiders doing? Surprise. Okay, Jesus. This is bullish. We got 1.6 million purchases against 270,000 sales. That's how much? 5 to 1? Yep, that's a 5 to 1 insider buy to sell ratio. So insiders are actually massively loading up Amazon here. Insiders got 1.6 million purchases against 270,000 sales. They bought it here, the wave 2 correction. My personal price target for Amazon would be 350 per share on a potential wave 3. Let's go here into our requests. Let's see. We have a request here for AIIO, and I do think we have time for a couple more requests. So if anyone would like to request any chart, any ticker, feel free to type it in the chat room. I got the chat room here to the right so I can check it out. If not, I can continue sharing some other stocks. All right. What's going on here? RoboPunt AI Inc. I don't know this stock. I don't know this company, but of course, let's check it out. So this does seem that like the typical IPO into accumulation. We had the IPO at what? At 21 per share. We went all the way to 50 and boom, accumulation. I do like these volume bars. I do like these volume bars. At that low, I would understand that is institutional accumulation. Let's check the volume profile. They loaded it up here. I do think they loaded it up. And, you know, thanks for requesting this stock. I didn't know it, but I'm absolutely going to check it out. Of course, for this one, we're going to bring here some of the fundamentals. Since I don't know the stock, I don't know the company, their products, I need a bit of perspective here. What's going on? Revenue at 0. I don't know if this is true or if maybe TradingView has not yet integrated fundamental data here for the stock. All right. There's no revenue growth. Revenue is at 0. You do know this company, I understand. Would you have that information? Do you know if they don't have revenue yet? Please let me know. I don't know if that is the case, or maybe since this was an IPO, maybe they're lagging a bit on bringing the information into TradingView. Maybe they do have revenue, but we're not seeing it yet. Now, price to sales ratio at 78. No, I think it's broken. I do think, unfortunately, the fundamental information is broken here, so we cannot take it into consideration. But I would like to see maybe if we got, I want to see who are the major holders here and everything. We don't have insider activity also. But who are the major holders? This is strange. This is strange. Major holders, we got 20% insiders. We got 0.39 institutions. What is going on here? Cornerstone Financial Management, SBI Securities. No BlackRock, no Vanguard, no State Street. So insider information is not the best, I would like to be honest. I don't know if, because it is an IPO, as it was an IPO recently, I'm not sure if maybe they're lagging that information. I wouldn't be sure on the mechanics behind this. but we're not seeing insider transactions. We're not seeing major holders. We're not seeing fundamental information. So that doesn't mean it's bearish. Of course not. The technicals would be bullish, but we don't got additional information. So we're kind of a bit blind. The only bullish thing I would have for this is the volume profile, which is quite bullish here, but I would prefer to know a bit more about this company. Let's go with the next one, SIDU. Cetus Space here. Oh my God. Is this, again, IPO into accumulation? Not sure what happened here. When was the IPO? Like 2022? What is the volume profile? Strong. We got the big volume bars here. Fundamentals. All right, no, I wouldn't call this an accumulation. And the reason is because revenue is not going anywhere. So I like to spot accumulations when revenue is increasing higher. In this case, 3 years of revenue going nowhere. Growth is actually negative. I wouldn't rate it a buy. Growth going negative, I wouldn't rate it a buy. Profit margin, not good. Free cash flow, not good. They don't got debt, but their price to sales ratio, it's 43. That is high. Now, let's see if maybe there is something going on and insiders know what's going on. Let's see. I think we got time for one more. I see we have a request there for BITO. We can check it. Absolutely. All right. Well, Vanguard. Well, BlackRock only has 0.8. And what are insiders doing? No insider information. Unfortunately, we're a bit blind here too. All right. Let's go with the next one. BITO here. Bitcoin ETF. What I would do, what I would do is we're going to check quickly BITO. Oh, my God. Check this volume. My God, this left me speechless. This left me speechless. Bullish. Super bullish. But I will show you what is more bullish even than the BITO. We got the crossover on the bullish MACD. We got the breakout on the RSI. My God, this is accumulation. No way. Jesus. All right, I will show you which is my bull case on Bitcoin. My bull case on Bitcoin is, we have shared this some time ago. The cycles chart. Where is the monthly? So we got the cycles chart from Bitcoin's creation. Here we got a sine wave model. We can use sine wave models to spot cycles for stocks, for assets, for ETFs. Cycles models doesn't necessarily tell you the exact buy and date, but it does tell you like range of dates, not the exact price and date, but kind of price and time ranges. All right. So since Bitcoin creation, if we would have been buying the bottom on the cycle strategy, it would have been massive returns. And first, let me show you here the main cycle, not the harmonics. Cycles do have the main cycle. It's there's many cycles for stocks, even for Bitcoin working at the same time, and that brings us the composite cycle. So those cycles have relationship between them with harmonics, and we will check it out one second. But since Bitcoin's creation, the first bottom of the cycle was the 2011 bottom. Then we had the rally. Then we had the second bottom on the cycle was the 2015 bottom again. Okay, the bull rally. Then the third cycle in the bottom was once again the 2019 bottom. Okay, we had the rally. The next cycle on the bottom, 2022, was again the Bitcoin bottom. And where are we? We are about to reach the next cycle here, May, June. We're about to reach the next cycle low. So will this time be different? What do we think? Will this time be different? Or will the cycles model that has been proven accurately since Bitcoin's creation, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to hold up for eternity. But so far, the cycles model for Bitcoin, the 4-year cycle, remains valid. It has never been invalidated since Bitcoin's creation. It marked the bottom here, 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 and it marked the bottom here. Now, this is not applied for tops. Usually, sine wave model cycles, we use it for measuring bottoms, not for measuring tops. So we would not be looking for tops on the cycle's high. It's for using the bottoms on the cycle's low. Okay, and work here, it worked here, it worked here, it worked here, and also it worked here. We also got here the harmonic, which would be like looks like I was back testing it and I slightly move it. So I will keep that for the next one. But this harmonic cycle has also called important minor bottoms here. We can see it had the COVID. It also had this crash here. So what I would think is that the cycles is looking very bullish. And now we're seeing that on this cycle low, like let me go back on. Let me delete the harmonic. I'm sorry, shouldn't have brought it up. Looks like I was trying to perfect it there. Something has moved here. All right, so in this cycle low that we're potentially seeing, we're right here right now, almost there. We're seeing this strong accumulation. So I would understand this accumulation would be signaling that this cycle bottom will work out. Again, we have the strong volume profile for Bitcoin. So apologies a bit with the confusion with that harmonic. My conclusion, my final conclusion, as we have reached time, is Bitcoin bullish. I would be saying Bitcoin bullish, but also let me check it here. What is the RSI for Bitcoin itself doing? We got the MACD crossover. We would need to break out on the RSI too. But for Bitcoin itself, we got the MACD crossover with a bullish histogram. I would say it's bullish on Bitcoin. So we ran out of time. That would be all for today. I would like to thank you everyone for your participation, for your attendance. As always, I would like to thank the Benzinga team, Ryan, Aaron, and everyone for inviting us on Fridays to share some stock setups. Rounding it up, I do think this is a wave 3 on the indices. Even if we can see some consolidation, looks like the market is going higher. My favorite 3 picks remain Marvel, which I would rate it a hold right now, not a buy, a hold. Amazon, which I would be rated a buy, and ServiceNow, which I would rate it a super strong buy. All right. Also, I'm bullish on Bitcoin. And thank you, everyone. Thank you for your participation. And see you on our next session. Have a great weekend. And thank you, Ben.